are right now. Zen is going to take out 2, but this is going to be a big flank by Sauce. Going to find 1, going to find 2. Doesn't see the third player. Will be shot from behind. Sauce looking for a third. Is going to get it. Sauce popping off here in round number 4. Doing really well for St. Clair, and they will be able to defend this B site.
Franchi going to redirect. That was beautiful. Although Haywire is going to get a demo onto Ramen. Oh, Nitrix going to take the advantage here and score.
Okay, redirection is the name of the game here. Once again, Ramen, the initial shot. Nitrix with a little extra tap on it, too, to put it into the left-hand side. Of an ulted Arena as well, as if you don't have enough advantage. Actually, Puffball goes down. Lupo does get that one, ulted himself as well. And wow, finds the second one as well. Copy, but Agrite on the opposite side is going up. This is going to be a Arena showdown at this rate. Never mind. JRC going to just shut that one.
Though, this could be dangerous. Lulu gonna have to ult herself up, and Exile just gonna be taken down here. Zephyr gonna be found out by this. That was a beautiful ult though. Zephyr barely living, but Shutdown gonna be taken for Lygia there. Midnight gonna come down as well. Lulu with no ult available. That's so much damage from Barlow though. Picks up the double kill. Trying to find the triple, does get it. Managed to evade that last auto. Looking for one more. The Quadra available on Lygia here. Will Barlow go for it? Yes, he will. Barlow doing so much in this fight here. Gonna come through. Quadra coming through for Barlow. The man, the myth, the legend. Finally playing an aggressive ADC, and it's paying dividends for St. Clair. Smoke Sauce just popping off in that round, doing everything he needs to do, and that's going to be 1. Kill streak gets the other one on the backside, and he's going to find the last person here. Finds Irelu behind the pillar, and going to find the final player, BPR, trying to get him here. And Sauce, 12-1. Just
he is
his head, and there he goes. Abyss gonna clean him up.
Olaf goes down. Everyone's just going to line up here for Lazzy. He's going to find himself the Quadra. Give it to him. Pentakill.
Priestley with the quad feet.
Gets the ace. Available, just spin to win all over.
That game was insane.
Hello, Saints Nation. Welcome to St. Clair Saints NACE Star League League of Legends action. I'm John Billbangs Zudima, joined today by Dan, Mr. Danners, Banner himself. And we got an exciting game on our hands. We got round 2 of the NACE Star League playoffs. St. Clair successfully won their first round, and now they're going to move on to the second one, try and win another game, and push us into the third round of the playoffs.
Yep, this one's going to be absolutely stressful, of course. McMaster, whether it was the Maroon Squad or whether it was another one, did hand us one of our only losses, I believe, in NACE Star League when we did get to compete against them last, going all the way to Game 3, but they were able to close things out. And especially with a little bit of the, not turmoil, but a little bit of a wrench kind of thrown into the St. Clair's plans today. Going to make things interesting, and I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. And we are going to have a sub for today. So Ricky, unfortunately, due to illness, could not play for the team today. So we are going to be having FaZe, the sub in the top lane. FaZe, we haven't seen him as of yet so far in this season. So it should be an interesting addition. And I'm really interested to see what kind of style he's going to play. And we aren't going to see, so typically you see teams insta-ban Aatrox and Jax against St. Clair because of Ricky's prowess on those champions, but now they have the freedom to not, and we already see the effect it's having on the draft. We see Ryze and Talon banned out.
Yeah, this is completely different. McMaster definitely doing a good job in regards to doing their homework ahead of time and not just looking at the VOD and blindly like banning away some of the Saints champions. And this is going to be weird. We haven't really seen the Saints in the position where teams are more freely able to target other lanes, and like we're already seeing, that's going to be like Ehug's Talon already taken off the board, and then Fresh's Lulu as well, and no Ryze. I guess Ryze is just strong overall though.
Yeah, for sure. And I would be surprised to see a Viego first pick here. I think Champion is one of the strongest junglers in the game, and Ehug has looked so good on it in the last couple weeks, so I really want to see if they don't get it taken here. So it is going to be the Jhin pick. Looking like that's a possibility here. Yeah, so we'll be locked in. So I'm expecting a Viego lock here, as well as for St. Clair. Maybe something comfort in the top lane, maybe like a Kennen or a Wukong for the top laner, because as I said, FaZe first game with the team is going to have some warming up to do.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting in that regard. I'm curious as to what the Saints' plans will be going into that one. Do they keep showing that top lane like a bunch of love? Because that's basically what happened for the most part in the past. But looking at the picks for this time by, the tried and true Lucian Nami combo going to be coming out of the bot lane here for Barlow and Fresh. Nice little start here.
Yeah, for sure. I like it a lot just because Lucian Nami didn't get nerfed in 11.22. They're still very, very strong. One of the best bot lane pairings in the game, and they can actually play pretty well into the Jhin. I'm expecting maybe a Leona pick here, a Nautilus pick, to try and get some engage onto this Nami. So yeah, it is going to be Leona coming through here. So very typical bot lanes for both these sides. Lucian Nami going to look to pressure this one early, and Leona obviously will have level 60 engage, and we'll look to roam around the map and try and get the other lanes far ahead.
Absolutely. Going to be an absolute brawl in that bot lane at some point or another. Whether there's some additional jungler involvement, we'll have to see later on. But of course, one more pick on the board. Going over to the mid lane, looks like, hovering over that Zoe.
Yeah, Zoe definitely a strong pick, and we saw it in the semifinals and in the finals at Worlds. Zoe can do so much damage, and especially when you get that Mountain Soul, when the map terrain changes, she gets such a huge advantage in those plays, and there's not really a good answer into it. Looks like we are possibly going to get a Vi here. That would be something new. I would be very, very surprised if we saw it. We are going to get it. So Vi is going to be locked in here, something new for the jungler, but also it has been seen being played in the mid lane as a really, really good answer into the Zoe, because you have the automatic lock on with the R, and there's no real escape for Zoe to get away from this Vi. So if you land a combo, you're going full lethality, you can one-shot the Zoe and she has no escape unless she flashes.
That would definitely be exciting. It'd be the first I've seen that in a good long time. But what you're saying makes perfect sense, of course. Sure, tons of mobility. Does not matter if you can just point, click, and lock on. So,
oh yeah.
A couple more bans on board here, of course. Taking a look at the Karthus. No press R for massive damage this time by. We're going to target top lane one more time here. It looks like there for McMaster, taking care of the Scion. And no Viego for the side of McMaster this time either. One more ban left to see what else we have really got to work with.
I definitely like what Sinclair is doing here is they're leveraging the flexibility of Vi, right? They're saying, okay, we don't want to have to pick Viego on this first rotation here to give away where the Vi is going, so we're going to ban it away so that McMaster can't take it, and we're still going to have the advantage of forcing a first pick out from McMaster, and they can see where they want to push this, see if they get a jungler, they can get an answer in the jungler, and they will have that last pick on red side, so they can counter pick it depending on where that Vi wants to go. So Kennen will also be banned out here, so I'm expecting to see a Wukong. I think they have some decent engage already, though, with the Vi and with the Nami are, so I definitely could see a Wukong here, but Yone would also be an interesting pick, and I feel like they are kind of lacking in the AP department, so I'm expecting to see maybe an AP... I don't know. Yone could go top, it could go mid, so definitely gonna be interesting to see where he goes.
Yeah, a little bit of flexibility still. And of course, we were talking about, of course, FaZe. When we did look at the OPGGs, just for a little bit of extra information earlier, FaZe seems like the two top laners that he mainly played was the Kennen and then the Wukong. I don't blame them for not necessarily wanting to pick the Wukong blind, however. Maybe FaZe does have something additional that he's been working on for that top lane. We'll have to see, though. Volibear being currently hovered, a tanky, but yet a very, very strong option for that top lane.
Yeah, and I really like another interesting interaction actually between the Yone and the Zoe is Yone pops into his E to do damage, and then Zoe can sleep him. But if he goes out of his E, he goes unstoppable, so he'll actually shed the sleep, and Zoe basically becomes ineffective against him, and he can go all in right after he stops the sleep. So I think really smart here from St. Clair is to really targeting the Zoe pick, and no matter who goes in that mid, whether it's the Vi, whether it's the Yone, even if it's another, you can get, because potentially you get another counter pick here if Yone wants to go top and Vi goes in the jungle to counterpick the Zoe. So I just really think it's a really good job by St. Clair taking advantage of the fact that they have the last pick in draft. And I mean, whoever's in this mid lane, the Zoe is going to have real problems going into this game.
Absolutely. May be strong, but still, of course, lots of counterpicking going on here. And this draft is just absolutely all over the place here for St. Clair. And like with Vi being the tankiest thing as of this moment, it's a little bit nerve-wracking to say the least. I thought that this was going to be a top lane Volibear, but the Urgot coming out here as well from McMaster Maroon. That's probably going to be Danny Boy picking that one up. Did see it on his OPGG sheet, so we'll have to see if that ends up in fact being the case. When that was a Cassiopeia locked in?
Yeah, so it can be flexed. So the advantage here is that you can flex the Yone and the Cassio to top lane or mid lane, right? So depending on how you want to play it, both these champs can do pretty well under their counterparts. The Volibear, I think definitely has a lot harder time against the Cassio just because she has the grounded, so he can't use his ultimate to leap onto her and go for the tower dives that you normally want to go. But I guess he is the jungle, so you have the Urgot top, which would also be counterpicked by the ground. So I think St. Clair drafting really, really well, but I think the problem is they got so caught up in the counterpick that their team comp isn't necessarily too well-rounded, and I feel like you're saying, they're kind of lacking a tank and a front line for this Lucianami to go hammer at.
I'm going to have to wait until we get into the actual in-client draft, because I still feel like there's so many things that could just like shuffle around here, and it's going to be like very interesting, because yeah, of course, like with the composition that Saints have as of this moment, like, okay, yes, Vi can go in, but what else is really going to really follow up? Not a whole heck of a lot. Saints is perfectly fine if the side of McMaster want to dive into them, but I'm sure McMaster, they're not stupid. They're going to catch on to that nice and quickly. But without further ado, going to be hopping into the lobby in just a quick second, so we'll just have to see in just a second. We'll go a quick reset, but
It'll be an interesting one. I think the team comps, if you're looking at the side of McMaster here, you have the Urgot top, Volibear jungle, Zoe mid, and then you have in the bot lane Jin Leona. It's pretty standard, pretty straightforward. You have a really, really good team comp, really good team fight comp, where you can work around this Urgot when he gets to that 2-item spike, when he's going to be tanky enough, and you have the Volibear is going to be pretty tanky, and kind of bruisery too, so he can kind of engage in those mid-game fights with the Urgot and provide a lot of CC. Especially paired up with the Leona. If the Leona starts roaming with that Volibear, it's going to be a real problem, especially for someone like Cassio who doesn't really have any good mobility until later on in the game. So I think they can definitely take advantage of that and kind of leverage that into the mid game where they can force themselves in team fights, because like I said, I think St. Clair drafted for the counter pick and they did a really good job, especially the Zoe's going to have so many problems in this game with the Vi, with the Cassio preventing her jump with her ultimate, and as well as this Yone. But I think St. Clair lacking identity and lacking a frontline is going to hurt them severely.
If they just survive, though, do you think like the longer the game goes on that Saints would just hit a little bit harder in the end, or is it still relatively like even?
I think looking later on in the game, the Casio is going to be very, very strong in these team fights. And you have the Volibear engaged and you have the Leona engaged, but if Casio can escape from those, there's not really going to be a ton of follow-up, and she can kite especially the Urgot and the Volibear very, very well. So I think later on in the game, Clair can take advantage of that, and I think if this Casio can free fire, she's going to make a huge difference in this game. But I think if they don't extend the game for long enough, unless this Lucianami gets astronomically ahead, which I mean, you saw before the game, you saw the highlight tape, like Barlow was really, really good on Lucian last week. So I think it's possible that they could take that advantage in bot lane and move it elsewhere. But it's going to be very dangerous for me because I think their team fight is just not, it's going to be really hard to see it do well in that mid game where they kind of want to push forward and try and extend the game till that Casio gets very, very strong late.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting seeing Barlow getting the opportunity to kind of pop off on something a little bit more aggressive. Like, I think you're even saying in the clip itself, like, he switched over to something aggressive. Normally, he was always on something like the Ezreal, right? Just kind of poking and farming, and then, okay, finally has his opportunity in team fights, but otherwise kept it chill. But Lucian, of course, completely willing to just dive right on into the fray. But now, of course, just going to do this champion select thing one more time here and see exactly who is playing what. Lots of possible flex picks. We have a rough idea of where things are going, but we could very well be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and I mean, Ehug on a Vi is just such a... I mean, Vi right now is a very good pick. She actually got nerfed halfway through this patch. I think there was her passive was reduced, and then she had... her ultimate cooldown was a little bit. So it wasn't crazy nerfs, but it was something significant enough that she needed to be nerfed because she was very, very strong. So I mean, we haven't seen him on a Vi this season, so it's going to be something new for us to see. And there's going to be a lot of new this game because I'm surprised too. I was going to say the Zephrot didn't pick LeBlanc, and LeBlanc was up, and LeBlanc actually can do very, very well into Zoe. So
was there any changes for 11-22 for LeBlanc?
I don't think there was. I think she was just left alone. So I don't know. Just maybe thought about going into the Zoe, didn't like, and I mean, to be fair, you have a Volibear and you have an Urgot, so it's very hard to actually get into this backline. You have a Leona as well, so Assassination may not be the name of the game for this one. You kind of need something more consistent like the Yone.
Definitely makes sense, especially being able to retreat like with the Unstoppable rather than just hoping that they don't hit you after you use your distortion. So fair enough in that regard. And it's interesting to see the Cassiopeia in the top lane. I feel like it's been a long time since I've seen anybody really try that. So that's going to be a lane I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on. Of course, it's going to be FaZe up against Danny Boy, who, if I recall correctly, is probably one of, if not the highest rated member in regards to their solo queue rank on the side of McMaster Maroon. Going to be a scary fight. Welcome to the main roster. I know you're on the bench all season long. You get to hop in and you get to go up against like their elite members, so it's going to be a tough one at the end of the day.
Of all times for him to come in, it's the second round of NACE Star League playoffs. Like, it is the time where you could have come in any time during the season, but this is when you're thrown in. This is when you're in the heat of the fire, and this is really where I'm looking at the rest of the team to get around him, make sure he's comfortable, and make sure that he's used to this role, because, like we said, he hasn't played with the main roster almost at all, like in any of the games we've seen, probably in scrims. But in the games we've seen, he hasn't been playing with the main roster at all. So for me, I'm like, you kind of, if you're Ehug, normally you see Ehug and him team up, invade the enemy jungle early, like 3-4 minutes. Because he's playing he's not even playing lane dominant champions. He just is lane dominant because Ricky's just been so good. So it's going to be a different look for him, or for Ehug, to try and find these avenues of success. Because for him so far this season, Ricky's kind of been that rock in the top lane where he always gets ahead. He's able to push out his lane. He's able to go to the river, go to the enemy jungle, and help him out with these early invades. But now with FaZe in that top lane, maybe it's a different story, especially on the Casio, who I expect to be pushed in early by the Surgot.
Yeah, and at least, like, honestly, there for FaZe, as long as just, like, be cautious, don't try to outpoke anybody, and just farm up the best you can. And of course, come the late game, you're still going to hit like an absolute truck. And I feel like that's just, other than maybe the bot lane, that's pretty much like the game plan all over the place. Don't engage unless Ehug is there with the Vi ready to kind of back you up and try and turn the tables. Otherwise, like I'd mentioned before, Saints, they have a perfect composition for catching an engage, but not necessarily, or doing a counter engage rather, instead of the main engage themselves. Yes, the Vi can maybe land you a pick or something, especially in the laning situations, but when it comes to these 5-on-5 team fights, if Saints are starting the fight, they're going to end up doing it wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking specifically for Ehug to look towards the mid lane this game. I want him to try and push pressure on the Zoe, because the problem is Vizalt is unstoppable and Yone E is unstoppable. So Zoe Bubble isn't really going to do too much for you, and she's going to be very exposed throughout this game. So I want to see Ehug try and get the mid lane ahead, get this Yone to roam, because if you can get Yone to be able to solo lane against either the Zoe or the Urgot, and he can get himself ahead in those lanes, that's going to be a really good win condition for you to work towards, and you can allow your bot lane to start roaming, and that's when you kind of unlock the map for St. Clair. That's where you should put your energy, try and get Zephrod ahead. And I mean, we've talked about it. Zephrod has looked so good in these last couple of weeks. He looked so good in that last series against Binghamton, and I mean, looking forward, I need him to step up here and be the star for St. Clair that he's been throughout these last couple of weeks, because we have a sub in for the top lane. You don't have Ricky in the top lane. You don't have that consistency to work towards. You don't have that crazy 5,000 gold ahead Darius as a kind of like your backup plan, right? You're just stuck. I mean, I wouldn't say stuck with FaZe, but you're with FaZe who you haven't played with before, so it's going to be something new. I'm looking for him to try and step up and get himself ahead, as he did get the counter pick in mid.
And I do have to say, of course, like, we're all like not necessarily counting FaZe out, but like we haven't quite gotten an opportunity to see him play. Sure. I know personally, I'm extremely excited to see how FaZe does end up here. I would love to be pleasantly surprised and just see him absolutely pop off, but definitely has some big shoes to fill. We've mentioned Ricky like plenty of times here already on the cast, and it's just from what we've seen all season long, this is definitely going to be a big change. I'm curious, especially with how quickly the whole situation happened, where the illness or whatever just happened like yesterday. So they would not have necessarily had a ton of time to like shape this up on the fly. However, they've of course, like, subs are always at practices and whatnot as well, so they're always still involved. So hopefully this is a seamless transition to a very similar, but at the same time maybe a little bit of a different play style. But at least hopefully here for the side of St. Clair, it's not too much of a shake in the foundation.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my thing is Ehug has looked so good throughout the season. I think he's going to be pretty consistent. I think Zephyrod's going to be pretty consistent. And Barlow is on an aggressive ADC in the bot lane, which is, I think, very important for St. Clair. It worked last week. It worked last week, and I think this week they have the advantage early in the game with Lucian Nami over the Jhin Leona. As long as Fresh isn't getting CC'd up by this Leona, it should allow them to push this lane forward and get Ehug ahead in the jungle, because you're playing as Vi. If this Volibear manages to get ahead of you and he gets that Sunder first, this Vi is not going to be able to face check any kind of objectives. She's going to have a really hard time staying in her jungle, and I think that's going to be key, is trying to get this Vi ahead, because that's where she's most powerful, because you don't really want to go tank Vi. Tank Vi is not really that good. You want to be able to get ahead, get the Sunder first, or get Triforce first, and be ahead of the Volibear.
That's what makes me so scared about this entire situation, because yes, okay, the Vi being more of a brawler than like a pure tank wants to be able to dish out a ton of damage while also then having the items to get a little bit tanky. But you're completely right. If for whatever reason Ehug gets shut down, that Vi just becomes basically an R button and a paperweight.
Yeah.
And that is just a painful position to kind of put yourself into. And that's kind of why we, like, you pick it when you're confident, kind of, but at the same time, I'm not 100% sure as to how it's going to be going on, because again, it's the first time we're really getting to see Ehug on this champion, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think realistically right now, St. Clair is saying, okay, it's game one. You have it's best of 3 series. You have a chance to try this comp out. If it doesn't work, you can go back to some old reliable picks. You can go to the team fight comps that you were doing earlier on in the season. You can put FaZe on like the Kennen or the Wukong. You can have LeBlanc in the mid lane, and you can go back to what worked for you. But I mean, if this comp works for them, the thing is, if you go into that next game, what do you do if you're McMaster? Like, do you ban out the Vi? Do you ban out the Casio? Like, do you decide to change up how you want to ban? Because I mean, this comp, like I said, very, very tough to make work, but if it makes it work, it's going to be so scary for McMaster heading in. But it is going to be started up here. Game number 1, McMaster versus St. Clair College. Round 2, NACE Star League playoffs, and it should be a banger.
Absolutely. Definitely one thing also, taking a look at the top lane one more time, like, I'm thankful that FaZe, even though the Wukong was available, they just didn't, like, send it into the Urgot anyway. Of course, that close quarters engagements, Urgot would have been absolutely just laughing straight to the bank. But picking the Casio, even if you're just farming it up, you at least have yourself some range to kind of play with.
Yeah, and I'm kind of surprised here. So we see for summoners, we got Barlow with the cleanse and Fresh with the heal. So that is mostly just for the Leona. But I feel like that kind of takes a lot of the laning power away from the Nami Lucian, right? Because the whole point of Nami Lucian, ooh, actually E, not going to make contact here. Left FaZe going to be walking away here, just going to be okay, but that we are going to see this top lane is going to be very, very Urgot favorite early on in this game until you can get that QE available, and that's when you can start farming up your minions and you'll be able to just get them under turret. So that's going to be very important for that lane. But I was saying, for bot lane, Barlow with the cleanse and Fresh with the heal, it's not advantageous for them because you want to try and get ahead as Lucian Nami, right? Because that's where your power is early game. So kind of surprising they're not taking an Ignite there.
It just seems like the game plan across the board there for St. Clair is just don't die. It feels like seeing that kind of summoner spell combination. Just all of St. Clair looking to probably bring this to the late game as safely as they possibly can, instead of trying to maybe push themselves an advantage, because they must have an idea that the Volibear on the side of McMaster is probably going to target them, knowing that's probably the one lane on the side of the Saints that might push around McMaster a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And junglers both going to take a pretty early back here, actually, for EVHUG. He will pick up the boots here. Does have Predator, so definitely an advantage. And looking maybe to get an early gank in towards the top lane. The ground will be available for Cassio here by the time he gets to lane. Oh, this is going to engage in the bot lane here. Fresh can get stunned up, but won't be taken off. It means quite a lot of damage onto the Jhin here. So it will be a pretty even trade across the board. No summoners used just yet. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, a little bit of poke going down, but no summoners down in the bot lane. Very important, especially because this Jhin down about half HP does mean they can try and look for an engage. Zephrot going to go in here, trying to do some poke damage. Sleep going to land. This could be dangerous. Fanboy not going to be able to land anything, though. Doesn't have the Q available, so Sleep will come down. But I'm surprised. Usually Dion is pretty dominating this lane, but he took a lot of poke early, and it meant that Quinn's Fanboy here actually getting a pretty decent lead early.
Yeah, not too bad in that regard. And at least like taking a look over towards the bot lane and whatnot. Anytime those trades happen, but like Barlow or Fresh don't get bursted down, it's perfect situation there for them. Of course, Nami being able to just heal your teammates over time. So it does not really matter too much in that regard. Leona's going to be forced to try and hit minions in order to get the healing towards the teammates. So a little bit of a better situation in that regard. But we do have ourselves a little bit of push in the mid lane here.
Junglers are going to be here for this fight. Nice knock up there. We'll go on to Fanboy, but Volibear will be here to answer. So Yon will back off there, but very important actually was the pathing there. You saw Volibear go up to check the red on Vi, and Vi was able to take it and take her Raptors. So it was a lot of time wasted for this Volibear. We'll take a little bit of XP in mid, but maybe another engage here. Vi going to be charging that one up. Going to go for the Zoe in the backline, but Zephrot already down very low HP. Drowsy can come out here, but they're going to have first blood. Zephrot trying to pull this one back. Flash is going to come out. He's going to dash back to his E. E going to come down from chat as well, but that's not going to land. So the Volibear will not land. He's going to go for the auto here. Won't be able to make contact, and a double kill early for St. Clair. Zephrot and EHUG picking up a kill apiece, and that's an early advantage for St. Clair that they love to have.
And Fresh coming up there with the roam as well to just keep Zephrot topped off so that one or two auto attacks couldn't finish him off. And in fact, able to possibly get Quinn's Fanboy once again.
That was a very, very good dodge there. Kept him alive. Last auto going to come down. Oh, he's going to live. That's going to be Fresh. Picking up that kill, and another kill over for St. Clair. Zoe TPing back to the lane just to die. That is so unfortunate. That puts you so much further behind because this wave is going to crash into mid. You're going to lose so much XP. Engage here in the jungle, but no, not going to be anything. So St. Clair taking an early 3-kill advantage, already up 2K in this game.
All right, Saints already at this point here so much further ahead than they were ever expecting to be. Unfortunate little disconnect here, it looks like. Quick little pause. Okay, no, just a slight disconnect, so we'll probably be hopping back into the swing of things in just a quick moment as soon as the delay catches back up here with us. But holy smokes, we did not expect at any point here that the Saints would be leading this early into the game.
No, and actually, very important in that mid-fight, it was funny. So Zephrot dashed forward as the own, going towards the opposing turret, and then the Volibear charged up with his Q to go get him, and then he dashed back to his other thing with his E. So by the time that Volibear got to him, Fresh was already there with the heal, was able to save him, and that got him the double kill and prevented the trade. And I mean, again, it's that thing that happens where you're a mid laner, you want to TP back and catch that wave, but Quinn's Fanboy didn't realize Fresh stuck around, and so Fresh took advantage of that. Knockup going to be here in the mid lane, a lot more poke damage, and now with the boots on this Yone, he's going to be so strong in this mid game.
Yeah, a little bit of extra bonus speed, of course, to try and help dodge some of these skill shots, but just every little trade that Zephrot goes in for, as long as he can just dodge a couple of those skill shots, just like a quarter of your health gone, just over and over again. And then God forbid you just dive in and here goes again.
Yeah, I think Quinn's Fanboy DC'd again, having some internet troubles, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
So Yeah, there's just nothing much you could do. That's just unfortunately some internet problems. So you are going to see the Zoe go down. This time, no fault of her own, but I mean, it is what it is, right? It's not something... If you see a Zoe standing still in the mid lane, you're going to ult in on him, right?
I mean, absolutely. And it's not like Quinn's fanboy at that situation had like a flash or anything that they could have got out of dodge with. It was still on cooldown from the past prior engagement. So in all honesty, even if they were moving, it's up against the Vi and Yone combo. You're probably not escaping that anyway.
Yeah, and this is very important because as you see, farm pretty even top lane right now. Flash going to come out, E going to come out as well. Danny Boy going to get a lot of damage out on his fence, but NACE ult is going to catch 2 of them there. That's going to be so much damage. Going to flash away here, try and get that kill, but Ehug down pretty low. Going to flash up to get that kill. Yon going to join the fight. Zephyrot going to be here to help out Ehug. Going to get another kill, and this jungle mid combo for St. Clair is just popping off right now.
Absolutely loving it, and that's the kind of situation that I was expecting the Saints to kind of pull off later into the game, but we're seeing a little glimpse of it now. They let McMaster do the initial engage, then Ehug jumps on in, and that's, of course, a petrifying gaze coming out of FaZe as well on the Cassiopeia. Just locks them both down after the engage and just open season, and right now, Saints are on a fantastic start.
Yeah, Zephyrot going to be putting out a little more poke in mid lane, but that boot start for Yone made such a huge difference there because now he gets to clear the wave faster, he can roam for free, and because the Zoe is so far behind, picked up the Tark Seal with no stacks on it, he gets to do whatever he wants, and they gave him opportunity to go top help out his teammates. There's going to be an engage here in the bot lane, though. Clean's going to be used, TP going to come out from the Cassio as well. Double TP actually from St. Clair going to be invested here. Cullen going to come down onto Swifish here. Will Swifish be able to get away? He will walk under that turret. St. Clair not wanting to continue the engage. Going to spot out Volibear there, so they will be let off. But it is a double TP committed for St. Clair, though, so that's a lot of resources that they use just to defend that bot lane. Oh, Drowsy hit. This could be... No, they're not going to go for the engage. So, kind of surprised. I mean, obviously, you did have top laner helping out there, walking back to the lane, but, I mean, decent poke. But, again, St. Clair still holding that advantage, up now 3.5k gold. So, I mean, 8 minutes into the game, that's a pretty comfortable gold lead.
Yeah, low-key kind of surprised, though. If everybody just teleported down to the bot side, might as well just get a dragon for your troubles. Like, I don't think they're going to be trying to, like, 4v5 you or something at this point, especially since everybody's a little bit behind. But at the same time, I guess safe than sorry. Nonetheless, don't want to overextend and maybe get yourself caught, send a bounty over to somebody, considering that both Ehug and Zephyrot both have those... some small bounties that could easily jumpstart somebody right back into the game, but looks like we're going to have a party time on bot in just a second.
Pink ward is down, so they don't know Ehug is here. He will wait it out, but looks like both bot laners are going to be recalling here for McMaster, so won't get anything for the Vi walking down there, but Dragon will be taken. So I was going to say, I don't think the reason they didn't take Dragon there was because Yon was still sitting on just the boots. He didn't have any item spot yet, so he needed a recall. And there was a really, really big stacked wave in the top lane that Cassio wanted to catch. I think it was like 3 waves or something that was at that turret. So you can't really have Cassio fall back here in the top lane, or else this Urgot's just going to walk all over her. So I think that's why they didn't want to go for it. I mean, they pick it up for free anyway, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah, just slowed it down a little bit, and it ended up just being Ehug and Fresh taking care of that. And now, a little bit of a buddy system going on here in the jungler. Fresh just completely content, leaving Barlow all by himself. Now, guys, he's after make another little poke on in, but that is going to be Swift Slug somewhat nearby in case Saints do decide to engage.
Yeah, it is going to be supports roaming here. Gank going to come through the top lane. Nice job by Ehug to cut off that dash, but Volibear going to be here to join. Ult is going to be invested here. Will get Danny Boy in the end. Ehug going to be taken down. No, he will actually turn this one around, get the Q down. It's going to be a flash out from Volibear, and again, the top laner going down. And FaZe saying, yeah, ult's going to be invested here from Zephyrot. Actually, Stun going to come out here. Will get the kill, going to dash all the way back, and will be able to live. So St. Clair cleaning it up and getting a Rift Tail for their troubles as well.
Okay, Zephyrot getting ahead here in this game is just absolutely crazy. Just able to just roam out all over and help everybody else out alongside Ehug, and it is just absolutely showing dividends. Already 3-0-3 here in this game. Tons of gold in the pocket, especially compared to their lane mates. Easily, like, one relatively significant item ahead of their opponent across the board. And then especially up here for FaZe in the top lane, like, Urgot wants to push you around early, but yet Urgot is getting absolutely, like, taken care of, to say the least, here in this top lane. So he's just going to be a big old meat shield the longer this game goes, but again, going to be another situation where he's an ultimate, and that's probably it.
This thing is, you see now the purchase for Yumu's for this Vi. She has that lethality item built. She has these predator boots. She's going to be roaming around the map so fast, just spamming out ganks everywhere she can, and that's going to be such a huge problem for McMaster because you're only 11 minutes into this game. If Vi comes in your lane, she combos you, you have no resistances built up, you have no armor built up, you have no defensive item ready, especially look at Zoe just sitting on the lost chapter right now in mid. Like, if Vi decides she wants to go on you in mid, even if Yon decides he wants to go on you in mid, you have nowhere to go, you have no escape. Basically, your flash you don't have for another 4 minutes, so I just think St. Clair are going to take full control of this early game and be able to push out. And I really, like I was saying earlier, if St. Clair win this game, what do you look at for picks and bans if you're McMaster?
Yone, I think, in this situation. Probably,
yeah, probably.
Probably Yone Vi, and then you maybe just leave FaZe to his own, but we're going to see Zephyr dive on in, but there's some
dangerous. Leon is going to be here. Volibear's going to be here too, but really smart flash there by Zephyr. Spotted 2 members coming through and was forced to flash out of it, but that is the power of the Yone, right? Is that you have that non-committal ability where you can just E in, get a ton of damage onto the Zoe, and her one defensive tool or sleep, or offensive tool, depending on how you use it, is negated because you are unstoppable.
Absolutely. One thing that's kind of funny, though, down in this bot lane, here I am thinking that's where the brawls are all going to be happening this game. How wrong was I? These two AD carries, for the most part, has just been having their own fun, just farming things up. Turrets are barely even touched at this point. Now that Fresh is back down here with the backup of E-Hug in the river, finally going to get a turret plate for their troubles, but otherwise, nice quiet game for the AD carries this time.
Yeah, you see already completed in the top lane is going to be that Leandries for Cassio. Yone will back here in just a second and pick up that Immortal Shield Bow, and Gale Force completed for Lucian. So items coming through for all 4 members of St. Clair. They are going to be so strong, and Dragon is going to be up here in just over a minute. That's going to be the next objective, and I really don't think McMaster is going to be in a place to even contest it.
Not at all. Saints basically like just speed ran past the point in the game where they are extremely susceptible to things, and now it's just their time to punish.
Oh, it's going to be a flash invested here. Yeah, going to go for the ult, but he doesn't realize there's 2 people here from the other team. Ult going to come through, going to get all 3 members. Zephyr clapping absolutely everyone in that fight. Going to pass all the way back. Who's ult fight? Yeah, going to barely escape. Yes, he will. He's going to get away here, Swift. Oh, he's going to get the E, but it's not going to be enough. Yeah, going to be able to save here. Going to go for the Q, and that's going to be it. That was a beautiful triple knock up there on the ult from Zephyr. He's showing exactly why his second half of the season has been turned up so high.
Okay, got to show a little bit of love for the supports once again here. Fresh just keeping, I think, Zephyr alive just by the skin of his teeth. FaZe is going to get executed, however. So, Danny Boy getting himself his first elimination here of the game.
That was a close one, though. They are going to put Rift Herald down, and sorry, Jin, you have nowhere to run. He's going to try and get away here, but Gale Force is going to finish him off. Barlow going to get that kill. Bot tower going to go down. So much gold in St. Clair's favor. We're 14 minutes in this game. They are going to be up 7k gold here in just a second. That is such a big gold lead they've accrued already here. And I just don't think you can really do anything if you're McMaster at this point. Like, you are just so done. Oh, you can do this, though. But no, they're going to decide to back off. Fresh going to be here. Turret going to go down as well. Zephyr looks like he wants to continue this, but doesn't have that shield built, but he has the backup of Vi. It doesn't matter. You're going to come in through mid here. Swifty trying to move out here. Will be able to escape for the moment. Volibear to come in, but no. Fresh going to take him away. That's going to be another kill over for St. Clair. Engage here in mid. That's going to be Volibear taking the stun to the face, but there's a lot of backup here. Fresh going to get taken down quite low by that paddle star. Is going to be forced to back off. Ooh, the root going to land. All going to come out as well. Curtain calls maybe for Fresh here. Going to flash, but no, he won't escape. So that will be another kill over for McMaster. St. Clair going a little bit overextended, but in the end, it is just a 1 for 2. So they do get a kill back. But, I mean, at this point, you're still down 8k gold. So I just think unless you get that shutdown on this Vi and on this Yone, you're just not going to have a real chance in this game.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, these team compositions, the plan still stays the same. Sure, Saints are in the lead, but they are still very rough in regards to actually engaging. So you get past the first initial Vi play, then all of a sudden it's all on the hands of McMaster to maybe catch somebody overextending, catch someone with their own engagement, and they'll still be fantastic doing so. Granted, their damage and their tankiness is definitely a little bit far from where they would want to be, but it is still definitely possible.
Yeah, we see right now, we toggle over to the gold. Yone is sitting on almost 3k here, so when he backs, he's going to have a lot of gold available to him. He's going to buy up, most likely. Will look, maybe, yeah, so there he is. The buy is going to come through. We'll get that shield bow. Going to get a BF sword and a cloak on top as well, so he's going to be up at almost 100% crit And he's going to be such a problem here because now he's going to the top lane, going to be facing off against this Urgot. Urgot does have Hull Breaker, so he is looking to play that split push game. But, I mean, realistically, the problem is Yone is so far ahead and Cassio is just going to outscale you in the side lane. So the problem with buying this item is that you can't side lane against these two characters because they're going to be able to beat you in a 1v1. So, I mean, I get where he's going with it. They can't team fight anytime soon because they're just so far behind in this mid jungle. But I mean, you can't really split either. So, I mean, it's an interesting choice. I just don't think it's the right one for Danny Boy here.
It's definitely a rough time when you have to play buddy system underneath your own turrets to like even just be able to kind of farm. Or even seeing like Zephyr able to just dive in very comfortably up against Danny Boy here. And look at this damage. The Volibear is supposed to be tanky.
Somehow he was saved there. Swift Fishing going to be able to save him for the moment, but Swift Fishing might go down. That's going to be a kill over. Wow. He saved his jungler, but he went down anyway. It doesn't matter. Yug on a rampage, just absolutely popping off. They will get top turret here and cleaning up all the outers. St. Clair going to be up over 10k gold 17 minutes into this game. This is just an absolutely smashed McMaster here in the early game.
It's absolutely incredible. Did not expect this to be the case for this matchup in the slightest here. Saints like definitely in the driver's seat. They're the ones who are going to have to like finish the job, but they have to be careful. Like don't rush it. In theory, like we were mentioning, they're supposed to be the scalers, and oh gosh, Sephiroth.
And there it is, the power of the E, the non-committal CC that you can put out with that ultimate, with that Q knockup is unbelievable. And Jin gonna go down, another kill over to Sephiroth, 506 on this Yone. Such a good choice for St. Clair here. And we're talking about if you can execute this team comp well, it looks incredible. There's just no answer that you can get anywhere out of the side of McMaster. Their Yone is so strong. This Vi on 2 items picks up the Sunder. I don't even think they can contest these objectives. And I mean, it is a Cloud Soul. It isn't going to be, you know, an Ocean Soul and Inferno Soul, one of the more powerful ones. Yeah. But I mean, realistically, you're not going to be able to contest any objectives anytime soon, especially with this Baron coming up in just over 2 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised to see St. Clair make a really early play for it.
And absolutely, at this point here, they want to probably maybe even like bait the Baron a little bit, force them to dive into the pit with them. Because I can imagine in that situation, Sephiroth, FaZe, all completely ready with so much AoE damage that it'll be absolutely disgusting in that kind of situation. McMaster, though, if anything, they're going to have to maybe make the read on that and maybe try to pick one of them off prior to the like actual Baron engagement really starting. Yeah,
you can even see the items now, like 2 items for the top jungle and mid of St. Clair, and Zoe just picked up her first item, just got that Ludens as I was saying it. So first item finally completed for that mid laner here, but St. Clair just monumentally far ahead here. Cullen going to come out onto this Volibear, but not a lot of damage can come through there. Going to take about half his HP. Nami, Tidal Wave going to come through as well, but not going to hit anyone. Just trying to push this mid wave forward here. And I mean, right now, St. Clair can use those cooldowns as they like because they're so far ahead. Looks like Zoe going to be here, and she ult's going to come down. Bubble not going to make contact, but it doesn't matter. E-Hug is one-shotting that Zoe anyway. No backup available, and I mean, right now, this Zoe just nowhere to do, nothing to like. You can't run. Yeah, going to come for an engage here in the bot lane. Oh, nice flash. Going to get the ult as well. That's going to be a big shutdown onto this Urgot. That's 2 shutdowns on this Urgot, and that is going to be your only win con now. He's going to be up to 7k gold. Flash going to come through. Barlow going to try and get away. Gale Force going to be forced to flash as well, trying to get away from this Volibear. Will be going looking back for the engage here, doing a pretty decent chunk of damage here. Combo going to come through. Barlow going to take him out here. That's going to be Leona forced to flash up, but it doesn't matter. Zephyr going to get another kill, and then in the end, it's a 2-for-1 again. St. Clair coming out on top in this fight.
Man, the kiting there from Barlow at the end there was absolutely insane. And then as soon as all the cooldowns are finished off, those pistols might as well have been shotguns. Point blank up against the Volibear. Beautifully done to finish the job there. But again, like, Danny Boy finding that shutdown was absolutely huge. Nice little flash into the ultimate execution combo. But the fact that the Urgot is the only one who really has anything really going for them right now is going to be painful. Because Shuri is going to be a little bit tankier, can maybe handle some of the beating from St. Clair a little bit better. But other than that little bit of burst damage, he doesn't have a whole heck of a lot to him.
Yeah, and so right now St. Clair doing something very, very smart. They have no vision on this Baron, right? So it means that McMaster going to have to face check this. But meanwhile, Yone is in the bot lane taking this turret, doesn't have taking the dragon, sorry, doesn't have TP available. so won't be able to join his team. But right now, I mean, if you're McMaster, you can't face check this. And see, all St. Clair had to do was just move a couple of the wards, pretend they were going to go on Baron in case one of the far sites came out, and then you get a Dragon for free without having to really invest much vision, without having to clear too much out of it. So going to be engaged here in mid lane, actually. No, Zephrot going to back up, going to take the smarter route there. Didn't decide to engage, and they will just back off. So St. Clair in the end just get a Dragon, but again, they're up quite a bit of gold here. They can just play with their food as long as they would like, because I really just don't think there's a way back here unless some crazy miracle Baron steal comes out for McMaster.
I mean, I've seen bigger leads get absolutely tossed
True.
away. Like, this is only like 11,000. If there is one thing that McMaster is doing right, given the situation, is they're just trying to farm up the best they can. Between like all the carries and the situation, we have, of course, the Jin and the Zoe. Sure, their score lines might not necessarily look the greatest, but at least their CS numbers isn't awful. Yes, Zephrot is way ahead of Quinn's Fanboy, but I mean, at least still like trying their damnedest there, as we can see the difference between total golds in the mid laners. That's what 606 does.
No, he's gonna get hit here. That's gonna be him going down here in just a second, but that's a lot of ults invested in that one. The curtain call came out as well as the Leona ult, so that's a lot of usage invested here, but Sleep gonna land as well onto another member of St. Clair, forced to flash out here. Vi will be moving out of this fight, and that's a lot of damage. So it looks like there could be an engage here. Zephrot gonna hold on to the ult, not gonna catch anyone with it this time though, gonna get stunned up here. Shield bolt will pop, gonna be allowed to back out here. Swift Fishing will go down to that burn from Fez, but he's gonna fall asleep. Barlow gonna get shut down by Quinn's Fanboy here. Re-engage from that's gonna be St. Clair re-engaging, but this is not a fight you want to take. That's going to be a double kill for the Casio, though. And Danny's going to try and get a kill on this mid laner. And that's going to be 4 members of St. Clair going down. And that's huge. That's McMaster's way back into this game. St. Clair just throwing everything they had and ended up getting nothing for it.
This comp still can't engage. And it's absolutely brutal here for St. Clair, because you know they have that lead, that they want to force it. But they all have to be on the same page as soon as Ehug goes in. And if it doesn't, then all of a sudden they're in a really bad world of hurt here. That was a massive delayed ace, and Fresh is probably going to go down.
No,
never mind.
Fresh is not going to go down there.
It does hang on by a thread. It's okay. Maybe Aziz there is maybe getting a little bit overzealous after
didn't have the ultimate available, so couldn't turn off the turret. I don't know. Maybe you just wanted to go for it. It's just a Nami. It's just a Nami, right? You can take him down. But good job by Fresh to stay alive there. But key there, 3 huge sleeps from the Zoe. One initially onto Fresh that ended up getting him killed. One onto the Vi, forcing the flash out. And then one onto the Casio right before he got killed. And that allowed them to actually do this. But St. Clair are going to be on this Baron, but they know this is going to be a flipped Baron if they try and go for this. And a lot of shutdown gold was just moved onto the members of McMaster here. All going to come out really, really early from FaZe here. All going to come out as well from the Leona here, but they're burning this Baron down. A nice poke landed there by Fanboy. That's going to be ult coming down as well from Zephrot. Baron, in the meanwhile, will be taken as well. Not going to come through. Not going to be much anything. So just a kill over, but they do end up getting that Baron, and they will try and push this forward because, I mean, a lot of gold was given over to McMaster there, so St. Clair are going to have to try and finish this game out rather quickly and take advantage of this lead they have right now.
I mean, they have about 2 minutes before the next Dragon does show up, and of course that would be sole point in this situation, so McMaster probably not going to want to give that one up. But one thing that I found so amusing there is due to the team composition once again, it is weird seeing a Casio basically be the frontliner, just threatening with the ultimates, because normally Casio's extremely squishy, right? You don't want to put him out or put her out in the front line like that, but decent usage of the ultimate just to slow things down so the rest of the Saints could secure the Baron was a relatively scary move, but does work out in the end. McMaster was just barely out of position to really challenge that one, but solid nonetheless there for the Saints.
Now, the problem is looking forward in this game, like, yes, you obviously destroyed the Zoe in your game. She had basically no impact. Her poke wasn't doing much. But the later on this game goes, the more these Zoe bubbles and the more these Zoe paddle stars are going to be hurting. So when she gets towards like 3 items, 4 items, and she's literally hitting a sleep and it's one-shotting anyone on St. Clair, you have no front line to tank that bubble, right? So if someone, you saw in that last fight before Baron, if someone gets hit with a bubble, there's no one to block for him, because if anyone else walks in front of it, they're going to die too. So that's the thing is, later on this game goes, there's going to be engaged there in the bot lane though. There's going to be a lot of damage. Volibear forcing the flash out of, that's going to be Na'Vi going down as well here in just a second. So Shazi will take Fresh out. That's going to be a kill for Ehug though, answered back. Jin going down. It's going to be a retreat here. So in the end, a 1-for-1 support for AD. St. Clair does get top turret in the end, but again, I mean, pretty good defense so far here from McMaster despite the massive goal deficit that's in front of him.
And it looks like the action isn't quite done yet, though. That Leona nearly dropping, but...
Ooh, ult going to come through here. Zephyr going to end up getting that Leona. Shield Bow was popped. Sleep not going to land. So we'll be escaping here for the time being. Engage going to come down onto the Zoe. Are going to be committed as well. That's Ia going all the way in, but Stopwatch going to come through for both of them. Quinn's fanboy will go down here, but Ia is going to live. Nami heals coming through, but a beautiful ult from Urgot there will pick up the kill anyway. So one back, but he is the only one standing on McMaster. Baron up members of St. Clair here. 10 seconds left on this Leona. Will they be able to get anything more than just this inhibitor? No, I think they will back off here in just a second. They'll be happy with the objective they took. And yeah, that's going to be it. So St. Clair does get an objective with this Baron, but it will wear off here in just a second. So, I mean, not bad. They are going to get this Dragon as well. I don't think there's going to be a contest with no junglers available, but I mean, they could set a trap here. Vision is actually pretty good, but no, they're going to opt not to take it, just go for the resets, and maybe look towards this Dragon very soon.
Okay, so this to finish off this game, Saints are definitely not the cleanest game in the world. They have been caught out, split up, and if there's anything that McMaster wants, it's going to be like Barlow all by himself or Fresh like split off from Barlow or something like that, because they can still, as a unit, they can still pump out some decent damage, to be fair, but like one solid death ball here from the Saints should seal the deal. Probably, like you were saying, going to go over towards that Dragon, get themselves that soul, and then a sold up St. Clair squad with this much of a lead is going to be an absolute terror to deal with.
Yeah, for sure. But again, you have the Zoe scaling up, and that is, I mean, the Urgot obviously has gotten quite a bit of money in those shutdowns, is decently caught up and can kind of split push. But I mean, I have to say, I'm very surprised this Cassia has not bought her tier item yet. I noticed that like about 10 minutes ago, and I thought she would buy it sometime soon, but she opted for the Rylai's and then the Zhonya's and still hasn't invested in that final tier item. So I'm kind of surprised by that, but Quinn's fanboy will be caught out here in the jungle. This Yone is very dangerous. Will they end the sleep? And is going to force him back, so didn't actually kill that Zoe. I'm kind of surprised, because if they all in for that Zoe, if he does get that kill committing the ult, they can look towards this Dragon. But right now, it looks like they will just clear the vision out from this jungle. And I mean, if you are McMaster, you can't face check into this team because they're just so strong right now. This Vi is so strong. Ooh, ult's going to come down. Nice job. Double knock up there. Double root as well. That's going to be a lot of kills. And Fresh going to be going down really low here. Will go down to the Jaeger ult there, but it is going to be a kill for St. Clair. Back phase going to get one as well. Zoe on the back line doing absolutely nothing. Turret going to go down here, and St. Clair just running rampant all over this team fight. Already 2 down here. Yeah, going to chase him down. Zephyr, meanwhile, gets the Leona. It is going to be Vi taking down here, and that's going to be it. St. Clair going to wipe everyone off the map except for Urgot. The lonely person left here for McMaster, just going to be Danny Boy, trying to find a way back in this game, but that is going to be it. I think St. Clair will end the game up right here, and a massive early lead led to an amazing mid game, and St. Clair going to take the first game in this series in a very unique team comp.
That is one way to put it. Completely agree with you there, and just absolutely everything going in the Saints' favor basically right off the bat. They just had to survive the early game, and then they would slowly but surely just be able to just scale up way harder. They basically completely bypassed that point with those, I think it was like 8 unanswered kills within the first 10 minutes. And it was just absolutely downhill for the side of McMaster, and it was just surprising, to say the least here.
Yeah, and I really like how St. Clair executed on their win conditions, right? Because when you are against the Zoe and you don't have a front line, unless you get her behind really early, you're going to have such a problem in the mid game and late game, because you're not going to have anyone to tank those bubbles where normally you'd have someone to walk up and tank them. But because this Yone and Vi put so much pressure on her early, get those early kills, and Yone got so far ahead that he could just kind of roam and do whatever he wanted, it allowed them to take these objective fights without any competition. And I mean, Ehug there obviously was really good on the Vi, and top lane, very surprising that this pick, but I mean, it worked. And for St. Clair, they're up 1-0 in this series. I mean, I'm going to be honest, with Ricky out and with the new sub in, my prediction was 2-0 for McMaster because they did win earlier on in the season. But St. Clair surprising even us with this win, and I definitely think surprising McMaster with it too, because this is not the St. Clair we're used to, but it's definitely a St. Clair we like.
And it's interesting to see because, like, normally, like, I talked about, like, Ricky at time, how he's probably the one with some of the higher, like, eliminations of the game. It feels like with this new team composition that the mid and the top lane almost kind of swapped a little bit. Instead of, because normally Zephyr, it's like, I may not be the one who's got the highest eliminations, but I'm doing my job and pumping out a ton of damage. But instead, completely flipped it around, where now all of a sudden, like, They got Zephrod ahead. He ended that game with, I think, at least 13 eliminations.
Yeah.
And then in regards to FaZe, taking a look at those last couple of team fights, just stayed in the backline as the Casio definitely should, just pumping out damage, not doing anything super, super fancy. But even then, when we looked at some of the laning phase earlier in the game, some very perfect stuns coming out with the Petrifying Gaze, the ultimate there. Like turning some fights right around to help Ehug get further ahead, help Fresh get a couple of assists and some extra gold in the pocket as well. And to be honest, just everything was perfect for the most part. Exception to maybe some of the closing moments there for the Saints.
Yeah.
A couple of maybe like split up engagements, but they're far enough ahead.
I mean,
to
I was
no
going to
harm,
say,
no foul.
when you're 11K up, I mean, if you throw a team fight, it's not the end of the world. Like, obviously, giving a couple shutdowns is not the best thing that you can do, but you're still up, like, I think they were up 8K gold even after that lost team fight. So, realistically, like, you have a lot of chances to go for a little bit scrappier team fights and try and put yourself even further ahead. So, that's going to be it, though. Game number 1 goes to St. Clair. We are going to be heading to game 2 here in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, St. Clair looking to try and pull us to round number 3 of playoffs, and I can't wait to see what they got in store here in game number 2.
All right, welcome back, Saints Nation. We are getting ready for game number 2 here of this NACE Star League playoff matchup, of course, between McMaster Maroon and St. Clair College. And that first game just straight up did not go as we expected. A massive bloodbath, basically, and the Saints were just getting basically everything that they could have possibly wanted in game number 1. But one thing to keep note of is last time we played McMaster, that's basically very similarly to what happened. We won game 1 and ended up going to game 3, and we didn't take it down. So we'll have to see. Going in the draft, game number 2, and Yone's already banned.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's the Yone ban that we were expecting. I mean, realistically, I honestly don't think they needed to ban it out. I think the problem there was they blind picked the Zoe early on in the draft. So you got the Vi come in, you got the Yone come in, and the Zoe just becomes worthless and is just being taken by everybody. The jungle and mid is just going to keep yanking it. And that's when it made the Yone look so good in that game. And I mean, not to not credit Zephrod. I think Zephrod was incredible in that game. But I think the Zoe was more the issue than the Yone was. So I think for me, it's still a good ban. Obviously, Zephrod performed really well on it. It was very comfortable on the champion. So, I mean, what does that mean? They don't ban out here? I'm trying to think what they banned out in the last game instead of it.
Trying to remember off the top of my head. It's
maybe we'll see
blanks as of right now because Saints bans, everything's still the exact same. Graves, Yumi, Twisted Fate, all just fairly standard picks. And actually, it looks like we're trading bot lanes basically as of right now, as it's going to be Saints picking up the Leono Jin combo after the Misfortune was locked in here from McMaster.
I'm very surprised because Lucianami is still up and available, and I mean Misfortune is a pretty decent answer into the Lucianami, and you can pair that with the Leona here, and it can actually be very effective into that bot lane pairing. It pretty even in the early game, so I mean maybe that's why they opted to go for it. But we is going to get the Amumu, so most likely will be support. We haven't seen Amumu support nearly as much lately just because it actually got nerfed in 11.21. Right. It went from 70 mana scaling down to 40 on the Q to flat 70. So it's a lot more. You play it more like a Thresh or like a Blitzcrank now, where the hooks are way more expensive to throw out, so you're not spamming them out as much. And I mean, it can work. Again, we've seen it work so well with this Misfortune Amumu combo, but it isn't nearly as effective as it was pre-nerf.
Yeah. Of course, we still get the Curse of the Sad bullet time combination sometime with the ults combination, but holy smokes, Saints just went from a team that could barely engage to the three of them already having some sort of hand into slowing things down.
I like it.
And that, if they do manage to get themselves into a lead, can easily snowball into some quicker executions towards some objectives.
Yeah, and I like the Vi pick here. I think, we talked about earlier, Ehug looked very good on Viego throughout this season. I think last time you looked at the Volibear Vi matchup, Ehug getting significantly ahead in that matchup, specifically a lot of ganks towards mid. But even in that jungle 1v1 and the 2v2s, it seemed like Ehug was just kind of outclassing Azui was his name, I believe. So he was just outclassing the Volibear regardless in those fights. So I do like it. St. Clair just going to answer the Volibear again with the Vi and say, okay, Ehug was better than you last time. How are you going to change that up in this game?
And they're really slowing things down. They're actually going to get rid of FaZe's Cassiopeia. So they do not want to deal with that. They don't want him to just sit back and become a powerhouse. At the same time, though, we're going to get rid of two mages, it looks like, here on the side of St. Clair. No Karthus for, of course, Press R Power. And the Lux been showing up a little bit more often lately as a prominent poke mage.
And I'm kind of surprised again by this Cassio. I mean, sorry, not surprised. I think it's a good ban from McMaster here just because you don't really need that engage now from St. Clair because you have Leona, you have the Vi, so it doesn't require a lot of engage in the top lane. So it is going to be another Kennen ban. So we are going to see a couple bans thrown towards FaZe there in the top lane. And I mean, St. Clair, a lot of freedom here. I think we'll most likely pick something like the Wukong, or even if you want to go for a scaling top laner, something like a Kale possibly as well.
They could actually maybe pull off the Wukong relatively safely too, because it wouldn't necessarily just be him diving in, but the Gnar kind of fills that role while also having the range safety for farming. So honestly, very nice, safe pick, and just yet another champion here on the side of St. Clair that can absolutely just dive in and engage.
Yeah, I think the Urgot might come back out of McMaster. I wouldn't be too surprised to see that answer. It can do pretty decently. Into the Gnar gets poked out early, but later on in the game is a split pushing menace, and there's not really anyone that I see on St. Clair that can deal with it as of right now. So looks like, the Sylas might be the choice here, and that would be an interesting pick. Yeah, so they are going to move away from that Zoe option. They will go towards the Sylas. A couple of decent ults you can pick up, especially the Solar Flare from Leona, the Gnar ult, even the Vi ult can all definitely be very viable on this champion. So it'll be interesting to see, and I mean, we did see the mid laner kind of get bullied out in that last game, so hoping he can turn it around here in game number 2.
Yeah, unless this all of a sudden goes like top lane or something, we'll have to see, because if there was one lane that actually did somehow get himself a little bit ahead, it was Danny Boy Uwu up in the top lane, and the Kayn is going to be picked up here this time by, making things extremely interesting. So now we have a situation, at least in my opinion, where there's a little bit of flexing going on. We don't know where this is going.
Volibear is going to be going top lane here. He is pretty viable in that top lane, and I mean, doesn't do too well into the Gnar early on in the game, but can definitely hold his own in that top lane. And Kayn, a very, very strong jungler, and especially good to remember. So we are going to get, I want to see it locked in. That's going to be it. So we're going to get Zephyros on LeBlanc here, as LeBlanc has looked so good in these games that he's played. So I'm very happy to see that picked up, and going to be doing really well into the Sylas pick. I think Zephyros here doing a really, really good Ricky impression. Going to try and hard carry this game number 2. And I was going to talk about the Kayn, though. Specifically, Red Kayn got a huge buff in 11.22. And Gore Drinker also got buffed. So right now, Red Cane is one of the highest win rates in the game. It is unbelievably strong and can be so good. If you're looking at what St. Clair has drafted with the Gnar, with the Vi, with the Leona, that engage is going to be countered so hard by this pick. And I think really good job with this Cane pick. I think definitely McMaster looking to try and taking it back here and definitely has a good chance to do it.
Oh, where's Commando when I need her? The resident Kane jungler of the production squad, of course. But definitely going to be interesting to say the least. I haven't personally seen Kane really get much playtime in a good little while, let alone Red Kane. So this is going to be interesting, of course, as we go through. And then, of course, Zephrot's, now that he doesn't have to worry about diving into a Leona stun, it's open season here for that LeBlanc to come out and play. Going to definitely be looking forward to that one. LeBlanc versus Silas, though. How's that go?
LeBlanc's going to be able to poke him up pretty well early, but I think mostly both these champions, LeBlanc struggling a little bit with mana early. The Silas will probably be able to clear out his waves decently well. And later on in the game, we are going to see Silas trying to roam to side lanes because you see they have the Leona for St. Clair and they have the Gnar for St. Clair. So if he looks to TP into a jungle gank or he looks to move into a side lane, it's going to be very effective because he has those big AoE CC ults that he can pick up and immediately use on the enemy. So he's going to be looking to roam. LeBlanc, again, is LeBlanc, so he's going to be looking to roam just as well. So I think it's definitely very much a skill matchup for these two. And I'm going to looking for them to match each other's roams in these team fights.
And definitely going to be, like I say time and time again here, definitely an exciting one. But, of course, like taking a look at like St. Clair's composition, at least as of right now. Sure, there are like lots of follow-ups, but it does seem like McMaster has the combos, at least as of right now, as long as that bot lane can get themselves into position and they have a ton of follow-up on top of that. Lots of damage on top of the Volibear tankiness as well, so going to be a relatively even fight, I feel like, in regards to the 5v5 in terms of the team composition. No tankless St. Clair this time by. At least until they can get the Gnar Mega formed, but
I think definitely looking forward in this game, I think the mid game is going to be very, very explosive for both these teams. But late game, there isn't really a solid like scaling late game threat for either of these sides. So I think the mid game is going to get very brawly, and then it's going to come down to just pure execution on a team fight. Who's going to be able to land their AoE ultimates effectively, because you have the Volibear, you have the Silas who can take the Gnar ult or the Jhin ult, or not the Jhin ult, sorry, the Vi ult or Fresh's ult as well. So it is going to be about who can land these a big AoE CC ultimates properly, and that's really what's going to determine the game in the end, because that's going to be the most important. I mean, I didn't talk about the Curse of the Sad Mummy and the bullet time on top of it. So I think it's going to be these crazy team fights where everyone's going to drop a big ton of AoE CC, and then one team's going to come out on top of that's going to be the winner of the game.
If it gets into that situation, though, where it is like a full 5-on-5, I just feel like the potential is higher there for McMaster, depending on how well they place that Curse of the Sad Bullet time. But with St. Clair, there is just so much more potential for singling somebody out and just straight up exploding them. Yeah. So just looking forward to seeing, especially around objectives, how the Saints decide to maybe tiptoe around it. They try to bait things out, or they maybe let McMaster try to start something out here and just like pick off from the outside, or do they just try to force the 5-on-5? Like, I think curious.
Very much for Zephrot here, it's going to be on him to try and take out this Misfortune, take out the Silas, because if he can negate one of those two people in a team fight, that is most of your damage, because Volibear will most likely be going for a brawler kind of build,
right? Along
with the Gnar. Kane going to be going red, so he will be pretty tanky, kind of a bruisery, and a Mumu. I talked about him earlier on when there was a lot more of him being played, is he's going to be very effective early on in the game, but once you get to around level 10, level 11 for the support, when you're about 20-25 minutes into the game, that's when he really starts to scale down, because he doesn't get the resources that he needs to actually get tanky, right? He's just kind of an ultimate bot. He's just there for the really big AoE ult, and that's really all he's used for, right? So I think for me, if LeBlanc can get on the backline, get rid of Misfortune early on in a fight, St. Clair will be able to just effectively roll them. But if Silas can combo with this Amumu and get a really, really good AoE combo, either with the Solar Flare from Leona or with the Gnar ult, along with the Amumu Curse of the Sad Mummy, that's where McMaster can win a team fight very effectively.
Yeah, the execution, though, is a little bit tougher here for this side of McMaster in order to pull that off. If they can pull it off, it'll be more decisive wins. but there's just so much room for error, and any error is exactly where Saints want to just jump on in, because it's all just follow-ups rather than like timing combo pieces. So got a little bit more extra wiggle room for some of these extra fights, and I honestly like that here. This is a very safe composition for Saints, very standard, or like more very traditional, and just gonna be curious to seeing what happens now that we have FaZe on a tank specifically, because of course we saw the Cassiopeia in the last one. Of course, traditionally we don't necessarily see Cassio up top that often, but that being said, did exactly what he needed to do. But this is a complete like playstyle shift.
Yeah,
and it's gonna be interesting to see how he could pull that off.
Yeah, it's definitely a different look for FaZe. He was pretty good on the Cassio. I mean, realistically, the game was kind of just over without him. Like, the Vi and the Yone were so far ahead that all he really had to do was just kind of farm up, get to late game, and then, you know, they just kind of rolled anyway. So it'll be interesting to see in this game. I don't think he's going to be nearly as far ahead in the early game as St. Clair was. And it's going to be interesting to see because he did lose a couple of 1v1s to the Urgot. And I think Danny Boy definitely looked pretty good in that top lane against him. So I think it'll be a lot more of a threat on this Volibear in our matchup. I think Danny Boy can definitely get the better of him if he's able to engage him with a gank from his jungler with this Kayn early on in the game, because the mini Gnar is very, very susceptible to ganks early because it's 22-second cooldown on that E. So if he ends up using it, he's going to be forced to flash out, and Kayn, once he transforms, can have a decent amount of CC to stop him. So I think definitely going to have to play pretty safe here for FaZe in the top lane, and I'm interested to see where the Vi pathing goes to.
Yeah, especially, like, is it going to try and help out FaZe maybe a little bit? Because if there was any lane that felt like it didn't get stomped on the side of McMaster, it was Danny Boy up there in the top lane. However, regardless of how well Danny Boy did, the champion pick kind of limited him. The Urgot isn't necessarily meant to be that hard carry, right? Yeah. It's more of a, like, lane pressure into, like,
the facilitator of how team fights, how you can play around the team fights. And he's looking for anything, that big R in a team fight where he can take someone in, flash forward, get the fear on 4 people, and that's what you want to do, is try and get that CC with the flip on the E as well. Try and just walk in, be able to tank up a lot of the damage that they offer, and try and get someone back into your team comp. And I mean, when you're looking at the amount of engage that St. Clair has, he is going to have a pretty ample opportunity to do that with his Volibear because there's going to be so much engage. So if someone goes into the team, he can stun them up, get a lot of his burst damage down with that Sunder built up, and can definitely be effective in the team fight. But again, like I said, it's going to come down to team fight execution, who can land those big AoE ults, and who's going to be able to get those assassinations of backline, because we're going to look for the Silas on the backline as well as the LeBlanc on the backline to try and take out these ADCs, because once one of those damage dealers drops, that's really going to be when the team fights start to turn, and whatever team in the team that took them out, that team's players are going to have an advantage in the team fight. Anyway.
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah.
All good, all good.
All right.
Now, if Danny Boy, for example, were to somehow get ahead up there in that top lane, could he, like, can you build like a slightly like more damagey Volibear build, or is it still too risky in this situation?
You can go something like a Wit's End. You could go even, I mean, you could go something like a Black Cleaver. But mostly you're looking for the Sunder, and then you go tank, because you offer a decent amount of burst damage with your EQ auto combo early on in the game, especially with the press the attack. But the problem is, once you get later on in the game, you don't have really an opportunity to keep taking that W, keep getting that HP back, because your team fights are going to be a lot more messy, and they're not going to be just you trying to bully someone out in lane. So I think you can do that, but unless you're like lots of gold, unless you're multiple thousands of gold ahead of your laner, that's really not what you want to build, because you're not looking to split push, you're looking to team fight.
Right. Okay. Yep, fair enough in that regard. Without further ado, game number 2 is now underway. Of course, Saint's still going to be on your right-hand side of things, McMaster on the left. Lines of scrimmage across the board. Here we go.
Exciting game number 2. St. Clair up a game already on McMaster. McMaster on the back foot here, trying to recover. Definitely, I don't think it'll be as explosive of an early game as it was in the last one. We are going to see Kayn walk up here, and I don't know if they took the bait. So it's a funny interaction. We saw this actually happen a couple times at Worlds. So what will happen is the jungler will walk up to this top jungle, and then he'll fake putting a ward down. So you'll see Vi most likely will back. He's going to buy a sweeper. Oh, we can't really see. We'll see. Yeah, so he bought a sweeper. He's going to walk back towards red, and he's going to sweep that bush. But there's not going to be a ward in there. So it'll be like you're getting a free you're kind of like getting a small, it's a very small advantage because you're just kind of burning the sweeper early on, but it's kind of the mind games of it, right? Where you think you're going to get free XP, so you use that sweeper to try and take out the ward, but it's not really there. So it's an interesting little interaction that we've seen junglers do it, and it's kind of funny to see.
Small moral victories, the got 'em moments here for the side of McMaster. Nicely done. And sure enough, yeah, we do see Vi near camp looking for it, but not going to quite find it this time. Vi. Right side starts for both, it looks like. And where are we going to see both these junglers end up going here?
Yeah, so you can see early on, Zephrot going to have a push here. E not going to make contact, though, so Zephrot going to get the electric proc off. Will do a little bit of damage here. And I think for St. Clair, they're going to definitely have an advantage here early on in the laning phase, especially in mid and top lane. Vi will have be a slightly faster farm than this Kayn will until he transforms. So I'm definitely looking for Vi to take this advantage, try and maybe gank towards top lane. Or maybe even the Sylas is going to be hard just because he will be constantly pushed in, but I definitely think top lane somewhere that Ia can look to try and gank early on in this one.
I did see FaZe take a little bit of damage, but a little battle on the bot lane.
Is going to come down for both these supports here? Who's going to drop first? It's going to be first blood over for Jaeger, and that Amumu is going to barely survive here. Some fighting going on here. They are going to auto-attack back and forth here, but they will back off in the end. So first blood over to McMaster there, and somehow the Amumu survives. And that's the advantage you want to look for heading into this game number 2.
Yeah, smart on Jaeger there. They even started trading out there with Barlow for a little bit, but pulled back right as shot number 4 was ready to come down. Of course, are the one with the big old crit and bonus damage on top of that one. So able to keep him alive. The Swift Slug, beautifully done, just extending just as much as necessary. But a little bit of a rougher start here for St. Clair, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, for sure. And we are going to see, like, it was a commitment. Ooh, E not going to catch, though. Zephrot will be able to walk away from it. Still holding that advantage in mid lane. And if you look in the bot lane, we are going to see Leona with this Hex Flash up, so she still will have that kill threat. In the bot lane, Cleanse was saved on both the ADCs, though, so it won't be too bad. And I think a good flash there by Swifty. So important was he saved that for that final auto on Jhin. So the fact that Misfortune was able to get that Q, the double tap of Fresh with an early roam here in mid, going to force the flash from this Sylas out, and that's a really good advantage for LeBlanc in this mid lane because that means she will get to shove out for free, and those roams are not going to be nearly as effective as they would be.
Even before the Fresh made the roam, you could tell that Zephrot just seems very, very comfortable with this matchup as right now, but almost a little bit of a battle up in the top lane, but FaZe going to just do a little sidestepping.
Importantly, too, he kept his flash there, so he did have the E up and available, was able to hop away from the Volibear stun. And like I said, if you can keep that E for those ganks, that is really your only escape other than a flash. So it is a pretty long cooldown. And the fact that FaZe still has this flash is going to be very important because I'm expecting this Kayn to look for a regank in top lane sometime very soon.
Absolutely. Again, they're like I was saying for a second there, Zeph just seems so comfortable versus Sylas, is just able to like sidestep chains like it's nobody's business. Has just been able to overall just comfortably farm up and comfortably harass Quinn's fanboy here in the mid lane over and over again. Level advantage just barely in the pocket here for Zephrot, but Quinn's fanboy still 3/4 health, still relatively healthy.
We are going to see Vi farming up the Raptors here. Looking at the Sylas. Sylas with no flash is very, very vulnerable here. We're going to see Fresh moving up through the river towards mid lane here. This could be a 3-man dive on mid turret. Looks like they're going to wait a second. No, they're going to back off of it. So they don't know where the Amumu is. Amumu started roaming up here through the jungle. So they are going to call it off and look to maybe get this dragon, actually. So they're going to start it up. But I'm pretty sure that McMaster is aware of this. So they will move down. And St. Clair has this vision for the scuttle. But they aren't going to force the issue. It will be cleared out here in just a moment by the Amumu. And both parties will just part ways.
And it's just letting Barlow just power farm basically by himself. Get just a little bit more extra level advantage over Jaeger, because like all while they were kind of pushed in there, Jaeger went back and it was just all like perfect timing there for Barlow to just like farm up as best as possible. And of course with the supports roaming, like we see both supports here still level 3, extremely squishy, but we have a gank on the bot lane.
Flash gonna come out really early from the Jhin here. Ooh, the E will land. Flash gonna be forced out of this Kayn. Vi gonna join in on this fight as well. Stun gonna come out here. Q gonna land as well, but Cleanse Flash gonna come out as gonna come through. Barlow gonna get Swift Slug though. Ignite gonna tick down. Yes, it will be a 1-for-1 change here. Barlow looking for that 4-shot. Not gonna find it though, so it will be a 1-for-1 in the end. Supports traded for both sides.
Just slowly but surely burning down here, and we see even FaZe up here in the top lane really starting to give Danny Boy just a little bit more of a hard time under turret. Even, okay, not necessarily a CS lead as of right now. Danny Boy able to control that one for at least the moment. But, like, Saints showing that now that they actually have some champions that can engage, they're ready and ready to make it work. Maybe to a little bit of their own deficit as they maybe pulled the trigger a little bit too aggressively. But it's interesting to see the difference in playstyles.
Yeah, and gold actually relatively even across the board. Just 100 difference here for McMaster here, but there could be fresh in a dangerous spot. Doesn't have flash from the last engage. Will be bursted down here. All going to come down, but not going to catch anyone. Stun going to come through on Barlow. Zephrot going to get the first kill onto the jungler there. Is he going to go down? The King going to come down. That's a nice TP. Going to get another kill. Barlow going to be taken down, but Ehug going to answer back with one on Amumu. Quinn's Fanboy has nowhere to go. Will land the chains though. Will get one. Try and answer back heals, but no, it's not going to be enough in the end. 3 for 2 for St. Clair, and they're getting the Dragon as their prize.
Holy smokes. Right now, like, Prince Fanboy, that Leona ultimate's going back onto Barlow. Absolutely removed him from the fight instantly, to the point where this Dragon is just taking an absolute eternity to really go down. But still, a 3 for 2. Relatively close fight still, but Saints barely going to find themselves with the lead after that one.
Yeah, that could have been a lot worse if Fanboy had not found that E-chain onto the backline there. Was able to just barely get Jhin at the end, so that could have definitely been more like a 3-1 for St. Clair if he didn't land that one, or even a 3 for 0. So really well played there. And I mean, Zephrot now 102, and again, this could be an engage though. Zephrot gonna have to dodge away, but no, he won't be able to dodge away from those chains. Zephrot trying to get away. That's gonna be a kill over to Silas. Zephrot will be taken down here, and a kill over to McMaster. So pretty even early game here so far for both sides. The only advantage really, St. Clair with that Cloud Dragon.
Poor Swift Slug makes his way all the way up there. It's like, come on, man, I just want an assist. Let me hit him once, but not quite going to be the case. Unfortunately, there, the struggles of melee supports, but nonetheless helping set that up in the end. And now all of a sudden, in terms of the mid lane, it's going to be Quinn's Fanboy. Just having a little bit of a hard time in the opening phases of the lane phase, but now sitting 3-1. Nice little jump start to his items compared to the Zoe game last time.
We are going to see Vi picking up the lethality items here again, looking for this Yumu's just to get that early move speed, helps the clear go faster, and both junglers are going to be up here, and Zephrot will be roaming as well. There will be Silas just coming back to lane, but no gank going to come through just yet. But I was going to say, so with Herald being taken here pretty early on, a lot of damage for this Vi right now has that lethality item, the Serrated Dirk, as well as 3 longswords, while there's only the chainsword for Kayn here. So I don't know if they'll actually contest this one because they can't call. There's going to be engage in mid lane. They force the Silas out, so they actually engage in bot lane. Nice Q there by Swift Fishing there. That's going to be a free kill for Jaeger. So the Fresh's Roam was punished there. Really nice chain through the minions by the Amumu, and another kill over to this Misfortune.
And honestly, finally, we've seen the Saints do this just over and over again across basically all of their matches, and very rarely do I actually see a team then push the AD carry. They just kind of like maybe try to poke them out, but then sort of let them be. But no, just straight up, you're in between your 2 turrets. You're still not safe. Send them all the way backpacking, and now Barlow forced to just pick up a couple items with whatever he has and try to get back to lane. And it's going to force Fresh to maybe stay down here a little bit.
Ultimate going to be burned really early here, actually, for FaZe. But I think it's actually strategic because you see this Vi going to be back behind the wall. There'll be a flash committed. TP going to come through as well, but Vi going to be on the backside here. We'll go for the ult. It's going to come through here in just a second. Unstoppable. Ult going to come through anyway here. Danny Boy going to be taken down here in just a second, but that's going to be a quick kill. No, actually, we'll be able to get out of it. Ehug trying to escape here from this. Silas will be able to get out here. That red buff saving his life. FaZe here going to have to clean up this fight. We'll get the 3rd proc, but there's going to be LeBlanc up here as well. Shutdown going to come through for Gnar anyway, and that was so smart for St. Clair. Gets them 2 kills and gets this Gnar further ahead in the top lane.
I honestly thought Quinn's Fanboy coming up there and getting the Gnar ultimate from himself would have turned that around, but that wasn't the case at all. And actually, the Kayn kind of stuck in a little bit of awkward position.
Doesn't have his transformation just yet. Solar Flare is not going to be able to catch, but the E will, so that will be another kill. Barlow going to pick that one up. A couple plates response in the bot lane, but that's a nice kill onto your ADC. And, I mean, I want to go back to this top lane engage, right? So what happened was Kayn, they spotted him on vision, was not in that top half of the jungle. So they wanted to do this gank. So what FaZe did was he burned the R really early on, right? So he burned the R, and then Volibear thought, okay, he burned his R, he has nothing back. So you saw him flash forward to try and take advantage of it. But what he didn't realize was this Vi was just sitting there waiting for this gank to happen. So as soon as he committed that E and his flash, they could go all in for him, get that early kill. And yes, a good response there by the mid laner for McMaster, but I mean, in the end, Eog just barely escaping with that red buff and ended up being a 2-0. So just really smart play by FaZe here, stepping into Ricky's shoes and just really doing such a great job as a replacement in this top lane. There's going to be an engage here in mid. Danny Boy going to find 2 people, but Fishing going to find 2 as well. That's going to be a double curse of the sad mummy. Eog going to be shut down here. And this LeBlanc trying to run away. Zephyrock will be able to escape. Ultimate going to come down from Kane here. Dash is available. Not going to go the same way, though. Going to barely survive, but no, Z will take him down there. That's going to be 2 kills over for McMaster.
Just going through the terrain block the turret shot.
I don't know, actually. I don't think so.
Okay, so just barely living by a thread nonetheless there, though. But honestly, nicely done there for the side of McMaster, getting themselves the double. It looks like it was going to be a bit of a fool me twice kind of situation here for Danny Boy, jumping in onto Zephyr, and all of a sudden, sure enough, he hugged there with the Vi, diving in to stop things. But this time, it was Danny Boy who had the reinforcements coming and able to turn that around, get 2 eliminations for themselves, and get themselves the lead here in this game.
It's one of those classic examples of you need your roams to be smart, not excessive, right? Because you saw Leona multiple times, left lane, went to go check on other lanes, went to try and help him push waves up, was roaming quite a lot. Amumu not nearly roaming quite as often, but the one time he does roam, lands a beautiful Q, gets the double stun, and that's 2 kills for them. That's going to be an ult picked up for Quinn's fanboy here, but Zephyr will have to back off. The Silas actually starting to do a bit of damage. Did pick up this Merc Tread, so will be pretty effective here, and will be objectives traded across the map. So St. Clair going to take this dragon, and we'll get the Herald charge on top, actually. So St. Clair just playing the macro pretty well there and gets themselves back to this gold gap within 1k.
Yeah, never mind the trade. That was just like Saints taking things from across the map, it looks like. But FaZe looking like he's about to get jumped on there. Gonna have to essentially panic Gnarl to just to get Danny Boy off of him, but still safe so far.
Yeah, once you get level 11 on the Gnar, his cooldown becomes pretty low on the ultimate, so you can just kind of use it, but that's going to be an ult in the mid lane, and Quinn's fanboy going to get assassinated by this Yumu's Vi, as well as the LeBlanc here. Going to be a quick flash here by FaZe, try and get out. Will be able to escape. Ultimate going to come down from Danny Boy here. Turret will be turned off here for the moment. Will FaZe be able to survive? No, Danny Boy going to take him down, so the solo kill for the Volley Bear in top lane. That's going to be disaster for that top lane. Again, drawing the gold just about even.
Yeah, no ultimates, no mega form. That is a dead Gnar. Nicely done there from Danny Boy to be able to finish the job and going to be able to get a couple turret plates for himself as well, just to try and keep McMasters in the lead. But we did just see an example there of exactly what can happen if Saints are able to solo somebody out. Like, Quinn's fanboy may have had himself a rather solid start to this game, but still gets completely exploded if like one piece of CC actually hits him.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, looking across the map, gold, only 500 difference, pretty even, but key here. Oh, this is going to be, never mind, it's going to be engaged on top before I can even talk. Jagger going to be stunned up here, but will barely escape. Curtain Call going to come out here. We'll be able to get him. 500 gold shutdown for the gym, but he's going to be taken down by the turret, so Jagger will get a kill in response. ADC for ADC, and both teams will disengage. That is tragic for St. Clair.
Yeah, heartbreaker there. The curtain call happened while the turret was focusing him, and it was just that extra hit that just unfortunately the carries don't necessarily tank turrets very well. So going to end up trading 1 for 1 there in that regard. Of course, Jaeger still has the ultimate on deck if Next Dragon does come around sometime soon.
Yeah, but I was going to say, so the thing is, the gold's about even, but there's Cloud Soul and Mountain Soul taken here for St. Clair, which means it will be, I believe it'll be, yeah, it's Infernal Soul. So yeah. St. Clair with the double dragon advantage here does mean McMaster is going to be forced to fight at these next 4 dragons, because if you give up soul point, if you give up that soul, it is going to be very, very hard for you to win this game, because there's going to be so much AD and AP for these players from St. Clair.
All right, I was about to ask, that Infernal Soul is the one with the bonus damage, right?
Yeah. Bonus AD and AP. And when you hit them with something, it does a burst of damage around them.
This could be trouble, though. They're going for the Rift Herald, and they're actually going to get jumped on.
Oh, this could be, yeah, they are going to try and take this Rift Herald here in the top lane. TP going to come through as well. Fresh going to be taken down here in just a second. So Danny Boy going to go on a killing spree on this Volley Bear here. So they will end up paying for that attempt on Herald, and that will be taken by McMaster. So McMaster fighting back here, taking some objectives for themselves, and I mean the gold now about even for both these sides, so definitely a close game, a lot closer than that game 1 was here in game number 2.
Well, absolutely. We see a couple gold leads even amongst the lanes themselves here from McMaster. We see, even though Quinn's fanboy may have gone down maybe the 3 times, they're still overall in the lead. And I'm going to pop the solar flare just because it was probably about to go off of cooldown, but like overall, just a much more even game. Some of the golds for McMaster is actually where you kind of want it. It's on your Misfortune, it's on your Silas, and then it's even on Danny Boy as well.
Oh, big flash in the mid lane. Curse is going to come down as well, but that's going to be a quick death for EHUG here. Will be traded back onto Jaeger, though. Flash going to come out from Jin. Will he try and escape this? Or going to come down on that turret. Danny Boy going to dunk him down under the mid turret there. It will go down as well. Fresh going to try and escape, but that Leon has nowhere to run. G is done for, and that is another kill over. They're going to look for more here. A double kill for Danny Boy here, showing his claws on this Volibear and being so effective now in this game where he was behind.
Oh, this is the problem with having the Gnar pick too. Unfortunately there for FaZe, was not necessarily at the fight and did not have the Mega Form either. It was just kind of stuck throwing boomerangs from the outside. Could not go in, and it's going to force Saints to maybe try and take a counter engage after the fact.
As he will flash out here, but it's going to be a flash response from Zephyrod here. We'll get that kill cleaned up, so we'll be one back in response. Swifty will be able to run away here, won't be engaged by that Gnar. So it was an answer here, and Azee burning the flash there does get a flash response out of Zephyrod. But, I mean, in the end, Danny Boy now at 5-1-1 on this Volibear. And we see he actually did opt to go for the Black Cleaver Turbo Tanks, or Black Cleaver Turbo Tank build, which is...
Okay.
I mean, it's interesting. It was way more popular before they nerfed Turbo Chem Tank. It was nerfed. There was a lot more speed that you got, and it stacked with your Q a lot more. But now it's, I mean, it's not as effective. But, I mean, he's 5-1, so it's pretty decently effective still.
I was going to say, I'm still scarred from the days of seeing Udyr just run around in bear form with that thing on.
That was, that era of League, it was terrifying playing a squishy solo laner because, it doesn't matter, don't got time for that. It's going to be another engage here, and Jaeger going to be taken out really early here. That's going to be Fishing going down, or Swift Slug being taken down as well, so that's going to be a double kill for St. Clair, and that is the thing with Vi. You press the R on the Misfortune, and you cannot stop that Vi from running into her, so she just gets one shot. And now it's a free dragon for St. Clair, and they're going to be on sole point here in game number 2.
The difference, however, actually, hang on a second. Okay, no. But the difference this time compared to the last team fight, EHUG went in the first time and just instantly got exploded. Like, okay, yeah, you may have like 4 eliminations at that time, and you may have been like relatively ahead, but you're still squishy for being a initial engager. So, like, was really rough in that case. But in this next engage that we just had there, not only did EHUG go in, but everybody was with him to blow up the targets individually so that the damage did not get turned onto EHUG, which is good to see.
Ooh, Zephyrod going to dodge the stun, but will not be able to dodge that one. LeBlanc all going to come down as well. Going to be able to dodge away from everything, but doesn't have another distortion to work with. Will dodge away from the slow, actually. So Zephyrod going to live for quite a while here. Going to get the chains landed. Going to try and walk away here, but that's going to be a Kane coming to clean it up. So Azui wanted that kill. Going to pick up the second kill of this game, and in the end, just a pick here, and the top lane turret going to go down as well. So McMaster, a nice pick onto Zephyrod, and it will get them a top turret as well.
I say though, props to McMaster for passing that one over to the Kane, but we still have even more engagements happening.
EHUG looking for the ultimate. Yeah, that's Misfortune going down here. Ult going to come down as well from the Leona, but that's going to be a trade. EHUG going to go down as well. Jaeger going to go down in a trade. Swift Slug support's going to be fighting each other. Jing going to be walking up. Nice flash there to get out from that Q, but there's going to be a second charge on that Q coming up real soon, and there is 3 members of McMaster on your tail. Fresh, keep running, keep running, Jin. Jin going to be here to support you, but no, the F-Frost going to come down as well, and Fresh going to be taken down here in just a second. So Quince Fanboy going to pick up that kill. In the end, a 2-for-1 for McMaster.
Insert the Benny Hill theme for that one. Fresh was running for his life.
Running for the hills,
money, but
please.
Unfortunately, does end up going down slowly but surely. You're not going to be able to 1v3 that, not as a support, not at all. So fair enough in that regard, but still lots of time before really any sort of objective play comes in, unless somebody wants to get really cheeky with the fast Baron. But still 3 minutes for the next dragon.
Yeah, and importantly there too, in that top lane pick onto Zephyrod, he did have 7 stacks on his Dark Shield. Now he's down to the 2, so definitely not as effective as it was before he got picked off there. And I mean, right now builds looking pretty even across the board. We do see the only difference really is in this jungle, where it is the Gourd Drinker built for the Kane, while Vi is sitting on the Sunder and the Yumus here. So again, EHUG in the lead in the jungle, not something too surprising. We've seen it throughout this entire season, basically. He has been doing so well, but I mean, in this game specifically, we were talking with production earlier about the fact that Vi is strong in the early and mid, but when you get to that late game, you press the R button, you're forcing yourself into this team, you are just going to get taken down immediately because you don't have those tanky stats to keep yourself alive.
Yeah, like if you've got yourself far enough ahead to the point where you can maybe like combo a squishy target, then okay, sure. But on your average target, yeah, Vi's just going to get out-traded, basically, and get blown up at the end of the day. And, like, yes, 6 eliminations, 5 assists, solid. So, like we saw with those last engagements, like, Jaeger has to be extremely careful, especially with picking up the Misfortune, having no actual escapes in your kit to really work with.
Ooh, ult's picked up here. Both of these members are going to have ult available. Stun not going to be able to hit, though. So Fanboy will walk away. Still has a Gnar ult available for the AoE teamfight, but there is a lot of members of both teams going to be here to back him up. So both teams will just disengage here. Just a little bit of poke, a little bit of fun in the bot lane, draw everyone down there. But again, St. Clair with pretty strong control of this bot jungle right now. And Dragon isn't up for another minute and a half, but we're going to look for a reset sometime soon. Both supports will be looking to get some more wards out. Going to be looking for a lot of control wards and some inventories very soon on a reset. And going to be fighting for this Dragon Soul here in just a minute's time.
Yep, slowly but surely getting set up for this one. It's going to be, again, just all up to the execution of these team fights here. Even though like the past little bit seems like it's been like kind of going towards the Saints' favor, the gold is saying otherwise, just ever so slightly. 17-14 kills and then 41-40. So just still such a close matchup here. Trying to see where the major discrepancies are.
It's going to be the mid lane. Mid lane is down about 1,500.
Yeah.
And then ADC about 700 difference between them. So that is kind of the 600 difference between them. So that is where the main body of this gold difference is. But again, it is only 1K, 1.5K. It's nothing too crazy. So especially at this point in the game, it's not going to mean that much. A little bit of poke put down there by Zephrot onto the Amumu, down to about half HP here. And the problem is, right, if you're McMaster, you can't give up this soul, but St. Clair can also say, okay, they have to take this dragon. We can opt to go for this Baron and just leave it, but they do not want to just give it up here. Chain's going to land as well on his Volibear. Will be rooted up, but he is pretty tanky with that chem tank, so we'll be able to just take a lot of that poke. And St. Clair is going to have to look for an engage here. We're going to look for this Gnar specifically. FaZe going to try and build up his rage here, get that ultimate available, because he is going to be their main source of engage here. Look for a big AoE fight, and this is going to be where a big fight's going to happen very, very soon.
Yeah, just a matter of time. Going to be definitely keeping an eye on the positioning of both of the AD carries. It's going to be all on top of Jaeger and, of course, onto Barlow. And we finally have the engagements. Looking to get started. Here we go.
In the back line there, Eog going to pop a really early stopwatch. That's going to be a couple ults coming out. Bullet Rain going to come down onto this Gnar. We'll get the ult out as well, but that's going to be Volibear coming in for an answer. A lot of AoE ults being used, but no death just yet. Fresh going to come down on the bot line, force a flash out of Jaeger here, but Jaeger will survive. Going to come down the back line. Danny does get Gnar. In the meanwhile, that's going to be double kill for a response here for St. Clair, but that's going to be 2 for 2, a 3 for 2 now for the side of McMaster, and they might look for this Baron, but there's still 2 members alive, including the jungler for St. Clair. So in the end, a 3 for 2. A lot of ultimates whiffed there, actually, in that team fight. It was pretty scrappy, but in the end, it looks like there will be a pretty decent health lead for this Volibear, and that means the Dragon will go over to McMaster, and they will let the soul wait out here. No, Yug looks like he might want to contest it here. Doesn't have any vision, though, so we'll back off, and that's going to be the Dragon for McMaster.
And McMaster played that basically front to back, just taking care of both of the tanks and then slowly moving towards the damage. Almost to the point of their own fault. Like we did see Zephrot just kind of sharking around in the back end, just looking to try and get the jump onto Jaeger, but could never actually pull it off. Whether it was waiting for a cooldown or whatnot, because Danny Boy was still, while he was like kind of getting melted down a little bit, just was really making it difficult for Zephrot to really move around. So the tanks just zoning out the damage on the side of St. Clair, doing exactly what they need to do. Even though some of the ultimate placements from, like, say, the bullet time in that case wasn't maybe as effective as it could have been, no harm, no foul, because you didn't get punished.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a really important thing there was you saw Ehug queued over the wall. I don't know if it was a misclick or if he was afraid of some kind of ultimate coming down or something, but he stopwatched super early in that fight. And what you want your Vi to do effectively in this team fight is press the R button on the Misfortune, get the knock up, and then once you get the knock up, your LeBlanc can come in with the double distortion and just instantly kill the Misfortune and get her out of that fight. So that was a little bit scuffed, and that's why you did see Jaeger survive, get that bullet time out. And I mean, in the end, it was still a pretty even fight. It was only a 3 for 2, but this Volibear being 7-1-3 with 3 items is just so tanky that St. Clair just doesn't have the tools to be able to actually take him down in these extended team fights.
And honestly, good for McMaster as well, being able to just delay this Dragon Soul possibility just that much more now by taking the Infernal for themselves. Gonna have to now put that on another 5-minute timer. 3:25 to be specific, it looks like, in this situation, but just enough time to reload everybody's ultimates and go for another fight. And to be honest, McMaster looks good when they're grouped.
Oh, that's a nice engage here. Another nice Amumu bandage land. He's going to get the second one as well. Fresh going to have to use the ult here to get this Kane down. Going to try and run away. We'll have the backup of his ADC, but it's not going to matter. There's 5 people here for McMaster, and Fresh going down yet again. And Baron is on the cards here for McMaster.
Absolutely rough here for St. Clair now. One of the main engagers gone from the side of St. Clair, and it's all going to be basically onto the Nara and the Vi to really engage this one. And right now, FaZe is just worrying about that bot turret. Does have teleport available, but what about this Baron? It's already down to halfway.
Yeah, looks like they will try and get a ward in here. Maybe looking for a steal. All going to come down anyway. That's going to be so much CC. Vi going to be forced out here. Going to go for the steal. No, it's not going to be enough. McMaster does take the Baron. TP going to come through actually for FaZe here, but he's not going to get anything from it because they will just back off. So in the end, bot turret was taken by FaZe, but Baron will be taken by McMaster here. Looks like St. Clair going to force them all the way back into their own jungle, but won't result in anything. So in the end, just a Baron for McMaster, and St. Clair just going to get a bot turret.
I'm really surprised to see the teleport come out from FaZe there anyway, because like you were saying, like the damage is already done. What can you really force from that situation? Maybe looking for a pick or something, but even then, just might have been a little bit better just to have that for a little bit later on in the game. But of course, we're behind the commentary desk for a reason and not players, so we'll definitely trust their judgment in that regard. High intensity situation here, and just looking at Danny Boy right now, that elimination feed right now, 7 eliminations already, only the 1 death. So much more prominent now that he's on a champion that can actually like take control of the game a little bit more.
Yeah, I think definitely Swift Slug here has been the best player in this game so far. Some crucial bandage tosses that he's landed. And you saw there, bandage tossed over the wall, got the ultimate down on Vi, forced her out, and then you couldn't even go for a smite steal there. You had to just hassle the LeBlanc to go in for distortion. And Zephyros tried, but obviously it's hard to beat out a smite on a jungler.
Absolutely.
So I think very, very well played there by Swift Slug, and he's really been the key factor in this game. He's been caught on Fresh. The dangerous spot, but will walk out here. And I think definitely the better of the supports this game. Fresh has just been constantly caught out in a lot of these roams that he's made throughout this mid game, and it's cost St. Clair a lot so far. And I mean, the problem is, right, is you have a Nara who's kind of like a pseudo tank. He isn't really too tanky. You see here only has the Sunder and the Sterix, and just pick up the Deadman's Extra, so we'll be a little bit tanky. But most of the time, he didn't have a lot of tanky stats. So when you're fresh, when you're trying to get these wards down, when you're trying to clear out a lot of these control wards that McMaster has put down, you don't have someone else with you. Normally, you have a jungler with you, but because Eog is playing this Assassin Vi role, he can't really walk into this jump. That's going to be a quick cleanse. Gale Force out from the Jhin here, so we'll be an engaged. Fresh going to go down here in just a second, and Fresh again caught in the wrong place. That's going to be an ult straight to the back line. Freya going to be forced to flash out here. Jaeger barely living here, but will go down here in just a second. So still going to take a Barlow. Meanwhile, though, FaZe going to finally get this misfortune, but what will it cost St. Clair? Zephyros barely on any HP here is forced to flash out. That's going to be FaZe going down here in just a second, and a 3-for-1, a 4-for-1 here for McMaster. Absolutely beautiful team fight from them, and they get it all. Yeah, that's going to be it. Zephyros will go down here in just a second. Danny Boy going to look for the E, ult the turret just for fun, and that's going to be Zephyros. The ace going to come through, and McMaster with a Baron can try and push to end this game.
Yeah, if not end, they're going to still definitely do a heck of a lot of damage here. And just the team fights here for McMaster, just absolutely on point. Just able to capitalize whenever someone's out of position. And right now, like Barlow getting kind of caught out a little bit, did end up living for at least a little while, but it did in turn catch Fresh, who was trying to get back and like save their teammate, and just started the engagement for the Saints way earlier than they possibly would have wanted. And it was already like a 4v5 by the time everybody got there.
That was an absolutely crucial stopwatch from Misfortune there, right? Because it forced FaZe to stay on top of her while that stopwatch duration was going on and just wait to try and clean her up. But in the end, she flashed out anyway, and FaZe couldn't even clean her up. So I think really, really well played there by Jaeger. Just save the stopwatch till he's down very low. But that's going to be an ult here. Stopwatch going to cancel it. But there's just going to be 2 members up here for the side of McMaster. So it will be a shutdown for this LeBlanc, and try and run down this Volley, but Volley going to be able to run back to his tier 2 turret, so he will be able to stay alive. But a quick pick there for St. Clair, and LeBlanc getting a little bit more gold. Hopefully can try and shore up this gold gap, because now it's expanded to 5k in McMaster's favor.
Yeah, small victories. We take that. Getting that bounty is definitely successful, but at the same time, there are no objectives on the board for the Saints to really push to try and push that advantage for the time being. So, like, yep, they got the golds, but that's really about it, and it's not really too harmful here for McMaster overall.
Yeah, I think definitely this game's going to keep coming down to these dragons. McMaster on 2 Infernal Drakes already. St. Clair still has Infernal Soul point, but the problem is going to be this Vi is going to go in this backline, try and take down this Misfortune. Doesn't have the stopwatch available anymore, will have the GA before this next fight starts up. So as you see later on in this game, the Vi just becomes less and less useful because she commits the R and then she has no way out of a fight. So unless you have the LeBlanc going out on top of that backline and able to take out this Misfortune instantly, it's not really useful. But that's going to be Zhonya's popped here in bot lane. Going to get the Q as well on the Danny Boy here. Has the ultimate available, just waiting it out. Will be able to get him down quite low. LeBlanc chains are going to land here. Root going to come down. Danny Boy going to be pretty low here. Will be taken down. That's going to be 1,000 gold shutdown to E-Hug there. So we'll get a lot of progress here. No objectives up, but that is huge gold in the pocket of E-Hug here.
Yeah, one bounty gone, okay, like we can live with that. But a second one, especially onto Danny Boy, who's arguably doing the best overall in regards to their the ratio, like that's definitely going to be huge. Granted, they do answer with a top turret, so they get a little bit of gold back for themselves, but they have to be careful. They find themselves picked off, and the Saints can definitely blow up a single target. Maybe not necessarily Danny Boy, but you can chip away him over time still.
Yeah, and the good thing now for St. Clair is they can clear out a lot of this vision from around the Baron pit because they know this Volibear is not here yet. Does have TP available, so they can't necessarily start up this Baron, but it does mean they will have an advantage here. It's going to look like they're going to try and start a fight here. E-Hug with the GA available means he won't die, but Swift Slug will go down here in just a second. All going to come through. We'll be able to catch out Jaeger here. Going to do a lot of damage. That's going to be LeBlanc coming in the background. Going to get Jaeger as well. Stopwatch to come down from the jungle as well. Double knock up here for the Silas, but he's going to stopwatch as well. Stopwatch is all over the map. Fresh going to look for the E. Not going to be able to find it though. So much damage coming into the Silas. He's staying alive. A beautiful knock up there. Going to get 3. That's going to be them turning this fight around. Quinn's fanboy going to get Sephiroth. And just when St. Clair looked like they had some hope in this game, they get turned around on, and McMaster completely taking advantage of it, win the fight. They will get this Baron, and they might try and end this game right here and right now.
Holy smokes, as soon as Danny Boy gets back and teleports in, it was just in a completely different fight. You can see that the Saints, like, sure, they had a little bit of damage onto Jaeger, but it did not necessarily matter. There was just so much damage from their tankier members, and then the Kayn and the Silas as well. Just so much damage across the board, and they just survived for so long. Absolutely incredible.
That was a really, really good knock-up, too, by the Kayn. He knocked 3 people up, Volibear, Art on top of all of them, and it just insta-killed Barlow and FaZe. So, I mean, the fight was so in their way, and looks like they will actually start up this Baron. St. Clair doesn't have any vision on it, so they can't actually know that they're doing this. And with Dragon up in just under a minute, it could be a double objective here for McMaster. And I don't know if St. Clair wants to contest it. They have an inhibitor down. So yeah, the Baron will go over, and with Dragon up in just a minute, I mean, St. Clair might just give this Dragon up and say, okay, we're going to fight at soul point.
That would be absolutely insane if it does end up getting to that point. Like, Saints need to find a way to somehow, like, get this thing, but we can see right here, right now, McMaster not wasting any time. Absolute beeline towards that Dragon Pit. We're probably going to have ourselves yet another team fight where either, like, I think, like, one of the teams are going to live with, like, maybe one person left, or McMaster are just going to take this and take the game.
Yeah, I think the problem for St. Clair is if they lose this fight, they just lose the game because your inhibitor is gone in the mid lane, right?
Yep.
So it is respawning right now. This could be a pick, though, in the back line. Chain's going to land as well for both sides. Mid laner going to go down here for St. Clair, though. Fresh going to be taken down quite low, and that's going to be FaZe going down here in just a second. Ia going to get one in the back line, but it's going to be flashed on. Kayn looking for the kill. Doesn't quite get it, but in the meanwhile, a double kill for this Misfortune. Ia trying to run away, and Barlow going to be the only one left here by the pit for St. Clair. Ia going to get it alive, but all his teammates are gone. E-Hug, you are the only one left to try and defend this base. I don't think it's going to happen. And McMaster going to try and bring us into a game number 3.
Oh gosh, this is just deja vu from like a month or so ago. McMaster absolutely making a fantastic comeback and perfectly done. Even though Quinn's fanboy may have found himself in a position where they got caught, did not matter in the end. There's just so much more damage across the board. And unfortunately for the Saints, Sephiroth just got taken down before anything could happen. This game's too far gone, and we have ourselves a game number 3.
That was a close game for a long time, but that Volibear made a huge difference later on in that game. Played their team fight so well. And like I said, I talked about the AoE in team fights is so important. And St. Clair, right at the end there, right by the Baron pit, they had hope. They got 2 picks. They killed the support and the ADC, but Kane hit a 3-man knockup. Volibear ulted on top of it, and instantly 3 people for St. Clair are dead. So in the end, McMaster take it and bring us to a game number 3. And this is a way more exciting series than I thought it would be. Definitely going to be a really, really good game 3, and I can't wait to see it.
We were worried that this was just going to be a 2-0 one way or the other, and sure enough, not going to be the case. And from the ding and the headphones, we're going to be hopping into the next match very, very shortly. We are going to take this to another very, very quick 5-minute break to get the lobby up and running, but we are in for a treat. Of course, NACE playoff hopes on the line here in this game number 3. You do not want to miss out. We'll be right back. All right, Saints Nation, it's now or never. Game 3 between McMaster Maroon and the St. Clair Saints after a rather back-and-forth game number 2, but with McMaster eventually just starting to run away with some really solid team fights. Can't wait to see what Game 3 brings us. It's already bringing us a couple of new bans, including Yumi not being banned.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting take. And I mean, the more interesting to me is St. Clair elected to take red side and didn't ban Yumi. So, yeah, there it's going to be the lock-in. So, I'm very surprised that they go in for the Volibear over the Yumi. Obviously, it did do pretty well in that game number 2, but I don't think it was necessarily the driving force behind their win. And I really don't know if they should leave Yumi up here unless they got some kind of answer up their sleeve, because you can elect to go with this. I was going to say the Viego pick here. So it was a vibe ban as well for McMaster. So the Viego will be left up here, and St. Clair going to jump on that for EUG. We saw EUG play Viego this season, has looked so good on it. And I definitely like this look for St. Clair.
Yeah, I cannot remember necessarily a bad EUG Viego game. So looking forward to seeing how he pulls that one off, especially with some newer compositions. Now we're seeing the Karma being hovered, possibly here for Fresh. I would be very, very worried to maybe go kind of shot for shot here with the bonus damage from Yumi, but this is a little bit concerning. I know Fresh, when he had the engagement support in Leona, it was a little bit of a struggle. So going back to possibly the Enchanter, if this does end up being a Karma support, it could very well go top or mid as well. But I think I see a shake in your head. Are you not a fan of this one?
No, I mean, I don't mind it, but the problem is, right, long term, the Yumi is going to be able to be a lot more useful to McMaster. I think, I was going to say, paired with the Misfortune, I think is going to be stronger than Karma Lucian maybe, or Carmen Varus, or Karma Caitlyn, or something like that. I think definitely in the end, Yumi will win out in a lot of those lanes. So I don't mind Karma. I think for Fresh, it's definitely just a very, very comfort pick for him. He's played it a lot, especially in solo queue. He played it quite a bit, and we've seen him play it a couple times this season. Look pretty good on it, but not necessarily the strongest bot laner right now, or strongest support right now. And when you're going into Yumi Misfortune, arguably two of the strongest bot laners in the game, it's just gonna put you down a peg on the tier list. So it is gonna be an Aatrox locked in for McMaster here. So Danny Boy getting someone who has a lot of utility, and I mean, we already got to see, that's what I was going to say, we're going to see a Kennen or a Wukong answer coming out from the side of St. Clair, because that's what FaZe has been playing, and we were just waiting for it, and finally we are going to get it. There's a lock-in for Kennen for FaZe.
I am still so worried, though. Like, the person who's been probably the most consistent basically all day has been Danny Boy. And as soon as they gave him Volibear, so when he wasn't just a complete meat shield with the Urgot, like, the Volibear was able to make some big plays and land tons of damage. Now, how about a character that does even more damage with this Aatrox? It's going to be very devastating to see. Of course, St. Clair fans relatively familiar with the Aatrox at this point here, as of course we've seen Ricky play this time and time again. But up against the Kennen, at least this gives FaZe a little bit of space and a little bit of kiting possibly.
Yeah, and I like Karma too for the move speed she's going to give to Kennen for those engages, and going to give him shields. It'll be a little more durable if he wants to go for those all-ins with the ultimates, and that is the one advantage that they have, is that the Yumi Misfortune is very, very immobile. They're not going to have a dash available to them, so if Kennen can get on top of them, there's really nowhere for them to go to. But, I mean, the Vi is not available for the jungle this time around. It is going to be the Viego, so you don't have that automatic lockdown on the Misfortune like you had last game with that Vi, and I think EUG looked really good on the Vi too. So I mean, I think his Viego is the best jungle we've seen him play this season, so I definitely think he can do just as well on it, but it is going to be a different look for him. We are going to get the Jhin ban here, so a little bit further down on the ADC list. Ooh, we could see a Jinx here. I like this. I really do. Okay, so I think the Jinx Karma combo is very, very effective because it can provide so much poke in this ball lane against the Misfortune Yumi. And it can play at a pretty safe distance from them. So it is going to prevent a lot of what they want to do is the Yumi poke. And I mean, this is just some ridiculous team fight and ridiculous scaling from St. Clair. I definitely think they have a pretty solid team comp so far.
Definitely makes sense. Of course, Karma does have a lot of like decent burst damage early, and then for Jinx, just pop the rockets on and you get a little bit of extra range to kind of play with. The one major thing that was kind of missing right now for this side of McMaster was some sort of engagement tool, and that Hecarim just filled it.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a different look. And so far in the day, I definitely think Ehug has been the better of the junglers. I think Azu has definitely struggled quite a bit on both the Kane, and we saw him struggle definitely in that first game on the Volibear. So a different look here in game number 3. I mean,
Oh,
for
we
me,
got combos.
oh yeah, this could be definitely really good. So the team fight for both of these teams is going to be very, very spicy. So it will be Orianna locked in here, and the Azir insta-lock as an answer from St. Clair. So this is going to be the final team comp. So we are going to have Aatrox in the top lane, Hecarim in the jungle, Orianna in mid lane, as well as Yuumi, Misfortune in bot. And we are going to have Kennen top, Viego jungle, Azir in the mid lane for Zephrot. We have not seen that yet. That should be interesting, as well as Jinx, Karma in the bot lane. And this is going to be a very, very good game 3. I can't wait to see it.
This just seems like very safe for Zephrot. Like picking Azir, just being able to farm from afar. It's one of the few matchups that I feel like Orianna can't necessarily harass down for free. Then up in the top lane, at least with FaZe having the Kennen for a little bit of extra range up against Danny Boy's Aatrox, definitely going to be useful in that regard. And I feel like for the side of St. Clair, I feel like we need to see something from the bot lane. Like, we're always referencing whether it's Riki or FaZe in the top lane. How is Ehug and then Zephrot going to end up doing? But at this time, I feel like it needs to go elsewhere. I'm just trying to think of the words exactly why. Kind of tripping over them a little bit, to be completely honest.
I think,
you know what I mean.
To be fair, there's a lot of scaling. We see the Jinx and the Azir combo from St. Clair, and you have in the top lane, you have the Kennen who, not necessarily wanted to go for those team fights early, wants to get his his Proto Belt and his Zhonya's before he goes for those all-out engages. So St. Clair is going to take quite a long time to rev up to actually be able to get to that point in the game where they're comfortable with team fighting. You have Azir on a couple items, you have Jinx on a couple items, you have Kennen on a couple items. That's where you're going to get your power, but you don't have a lot of agency in the early to mid game and how you want to play it out, because normally you see Riki on a very pushing top laner, and you see a mid lane that's shoved out with a LeBlanc or something else along those lines. But this time around, you're not really going to have that push in your solo lanes for Viego to get this freedom to fight for objectives. So it is definitely going to be a different look for St. Clair. But last time Ehug was on Viego and played against Hecarim, he was 100 farm up on him at 15 minutes. So
that was definitely disgusting.
Yeah, that was unhealthy. So I definitely think he can out jungle as we've seen throughout this series.
Yeah, it's been basically a tell the tape for the jungle indeed. However, the differences have been happening basically everywhere else. And Jaeger, I mean, playing the immobile Misfortune once again, but at least you always have the Yuumi here from Swift to try and, or from Swift Slug to try and at least keep them with a little bit of extra movement speed and a little bit of extra damage and healing on top of that as well. And I mean, this is just a tried and true combo that we've seen also throughout the season, where the Yuumi just, never mind the AD carry, hop on the Hecarim and just let him go nuts, or hop on the Aatrox and just help him like close the gap
and
to
get some
just do a bunch of damage.
Ridiculous healing on that guy. He's going to be crazy. So,
Boss.
Yeah, for Swift Slug here, I'm kind of surprised. He for me, last game, he was kind of the standout. A lot of the early to mid-game fights, he was landing multiple Qs in a row on the Amumu. He was starting up that engage. You saw he went to the mid lane for a roam, got a double kill, and kind of answered back a lot of what St. Clair was trying to do. Caught out Fresh quite a bit when he's punishing these roams from Fresh. And this time you're on the Yuumi. You don't really get a chance to do that.
No.
You are stuck with your ADC in laning phase, and then you don't get the hop. You're stuck on a jungler or a top laner in team fights, right? So you don't really get that agency that you would as another support player, where you're kind of just stuck on someone else.
I have to agree with you, and just to echo that, yeah, Yuumi is amazing at many things. Roaming is not one of them. So
no, not at all.
So there's a little bit of a breath of fresh air there for the Saints in that regard, but either that then puts the pressure then onto Fresh to maybe start making some moves towards the mid lane himself, or you have to worry, like, if you do end up doing that, like, just knowing that you're always going to be leaving your AD carry 2v1 like that, or 1v2, that's going to be a rough time all around. And just both of these compositions definitely has me excited, because this is about as standard as it gets to kind of close out the season. And hoping for a back and forth bloodbath to finish things off here.
Yeah, for sure. The big question is for me, who's going to step up in this game from from either side, from McMaster, from St. Clair, who is going to be the difference maker in this game? And I'm looking towards Zephrod here because the second half of this season for Zephrod has been so good. We saw him earlier on, not looking comfortable either on Silas. He was playing, even his first LeBlanc game was not that good. But the second half of the season, he's been popping off. He had an amazing Syndra game a couple weeks ago. He looked so good in their series against Binghamton last week. And even in the first game in this series especially looked amazing on this Yone. And I definitely think in that second game, he did pretty well. Obviously, definitely Volibear a lot tankier and was able to negate a lot of what LeBlanc wanted to do in that game. So I think looking into this third one, playing the Azir, a little bit more scaling, and we'll get to a point in the game where he will just be able to control the fights completely. But I'm looking for him to step up because I think for Ehug, he's been the rock all season. He's been looking so good on any jungler you put him on his Viego. Going to be very comfortable, and that's the two people that I'm looking for to step up in this game and to bring St. Clair into that next round of playoffs.
Absolutely. And then, like, thinking about Ehug's jungling, I think I could only count like maybe once where there was like one game on a Talon that just didn't go his way at all. And that's like one game out of all season. Yeah. So just been absolutely like Mr. Consistency was over this entire season. But to counteract that for like stepping up on the side of McMaster, I really feel like it's going to be the Danny Boy diff. Like you put him on a playmaker, on somebody who actually does damage, like we saw like in game number 2, and he can definitely do something. Let alone pair him up with the Yuumi there with Swift Slug, and I feel like that could be a combo that basically just runs this entire series into the ground for St. Clair.
Yeah, and even in that first game too, like despite the fact that his jungler was 0-4, 0-5 and his mid laner was 0-4, 0-5, he was 4-3. He was getting shutdowns, and he was really the only shining star for any member on the side of McMaster in that game number 1.
Yeah, and then they just kind of drafted him into a hole, basically, so he couldn't do anything. But they've definitely learned from their mistakes, and this is exactly why, even after we've seen a relatively decisive game number 1, I still wasn't 100% convinced, because this is, of course, exactly what we saw the last time we played McMaster. Both teams basically traded decisive games, and then game number 3 ended up being an absolute back-and-forth banger, where McMaster eventually were able to take it. And if McMaster can continue to ride this momentum, they will do the exact same thing to St. Clair once again. Of course, Saints with this being the playoffs, they want to shut that down, though.
Yeah, and I mean, in game number 3 last time, it was Danny Boy that was the difference maker. He was on that Darius, able to brawl it out with the top laner there when it was Ricky at the time, and now it is a different top laner. It's FaZe. It's a different look. He's playing the Aatrox against the Cannon, so it is a different top matchup, but we saw in game number 3, he's the one who stepped up. He's the one who put McMaster ahead in that game, and I'm looking for him, for McMaster to try and get ahead and make his mark on this playoff run.
And such a difference of styles, too, between both of our St. Clair top laners in this case, because, of course, Ricky was always the one who wants to, like, I don't want to, like, kite and, like, be safe. I want to get in your face and brawl with you. Meanwhile, FaZe, completely content playing, like, the far distance, the kiting kind of roles, and being, like, the secondary engage, or even sometimes, like, the secondary or a tertiary carry of the group if necessary, like we saw with the Cassiopeia game. So, definitely an interesting difference of play styles, even though this is basically the same teams, completely different scenario. And here we go, the final matchup of the night here, McMaster versus St. Clair, game 3. Let's go.
And both teams, a little bit of chitter chatter before the game happening, and it's always good. It is friendly competition here in the collegiate scene. Both these guys have had a hard-fought series so far in this one, and I mean, they're, as long as they're being nice to each other. It's funny, but it's great to see these guys talking to each other and being friendly, because it comes down to a game, right? You are enjoying this. You are with friends that you've made throughout the season, and I mean, we aren't going to be able to live in collegiate esports forever. Well, at least most of us aren't going to be able to, and it's nice to make friends across the sport that you can connect to.
I mean, that's always been the case, even with traditional sport, right? Like, on the field, you're ready to absolutely brawl with your opponent. Then as soon as the game's done, then like, you're just like comrades once again. So, like, it's nice to see the sportsmanship between the two.
Yeah, so looks like junglers will be starting pretty standard. We're going to have Ehug starting on his red buff, as well as he starting on his, so nothing too crazy here early on in the game.
Yeah, very quiet start. None of this faking and like back and forth stuff that we saw similarly to the last time.
Yeah, so pretty standard start in the top lane here, and I expect the Aatrox to be pushing in this lane. I think Kennen going to be giving up a lot early on, and I'm looking for the Azir again to push forward into this Orianna and maybe get Ehug an early scuttle grab here. Maybe look for the double.
And a little bit of poke back and forth once again here, but nothing too crazy. And of course the Yuumi eventually, especially once we hit level 2, can definitely just keep healing up Jaeger over and over. Basically on cooldown at this point here. Fresh trying to poke out Jaeger, but not quite going to get the job done this time by. Of course, relatively short cooldown though, however, on that ability. I'm just going to keep trying it over and over again. But not a ton of damage, to say the least. It is going to be the St. Clair bot lane of Barlow and Fresh both getting level 2 first, though. But just a very, very safe positioning so far here from the McMaster bot lane.
Yeah, some poke being thrown out by Kennen here as well. FaZe doing his best, trying to force the Aatrox back. And I expect a fight here at Scuttle, actually, between Hecarim and... I thought Hecarim would go towards bot lane here to look for an early gank, but decides not to. He's going to path towards top lane here. Barlow going to be down in this river already, looking for maybe an early gank onto this Misfortune Yuumi. And the key here is there is no ward in this Tribush, so they won't know that he's looking for this gank here, and the W will be available. He's going to stay in this bush. He's just staying here. He's waiting. Let's move up. Flash going to come through. Root going to come through as well. Jaeger going to be forced to flash out here really early on. A lot of poke damage here, but Fresh going to go down anyway. That's going to be first blood for the Misfortune, and that gang turns sideways for St. Clair real quick.
Man, the Saints were not all on the same page for that one at all. Fresh was ready to all in. It looked like Ehug was kind of like thinking about hopping on in, but Barlow was still so far back. The only thing that could reach was the W, and it was blocked by minions. There was absolutely nothing that he could have done to get involved there, and unfortunately, the all-in attempt there from Fresh is going to end up falling flat on its face.
Yeah, that's really bad, especially into the Misfortune Yuumi. This means Misfortune will be ahead of this Jinx right now, and the back has to come out early. That's going to be a gank here in the mid lane. Zephyr will be able to dash away from this for the moment. Slow going to come down as well, but that is a level 4 Hecarim with double buffs. You cannot face that one down, and it costs so much for that gank for Ehug here. Now he's down 10 farm, isn't going to be able to challenge here for this Rift Herald. Fresh going to be sitting in this bush here, but will be spotted out by as he going to be forced out here. We'll get a little bit poked down. Yubi going to be here as well. Stun going to land though. Hecarim going to try and run away here. W not going to be able to land for the Jinx here. Yeah, going to keep chasing it down, but Slow going to come down from MF. So looks like he will get away here. They're going to continue the chase. Flash going to come through. Root. Oh, stun is going to land, but it's not going to matter. Heal going to come through from Misfortune. That's going to be a lot of summoner spells expended for St. Clair. They're going to come back and try and fight this. Azir going to take down Fresh. Answer going to come through. Stun going to be followed through, but Jaeger going to get the kill anyway. Azir going to get an answer back onto his he here, but Jaeger going to be free hitting onto Barlow here. Yuumi on top as well. Blue buff achieved here for Zephyr, so he can try and get some mana back. Try and get the slow applied, so Barlow will be able to walk away in the end. 2 for 1. Blue buff transfer onto the Azir here, but again, Fresh just being overextended, trying to make a play here and being punished for it.
And when in doubt, they're getting aggressive, and it's getting answered over and over again here. McMaster is just doing exactly what they need to. Cutting things out, grouping up as often as possible. And again, we just kind of even seen right there with Swift Slug. As soon as the Hecarim was in need, hop on over to the Hecarim, speed him out of there, give him heals, and then the heal coming out from Jaeger as well. I'm so surprised that Azzy was able to actually get out of that one alive, but just amazing support from the rest of the McMaster squad.
Yeah, Boots already bought for this Hecarim. He is going to be a speedy horse with that Predator as well. He is going to be able to make these ganks so effective on the members of St. Clair. And the thing is, Flash is burned for Ehug and Zephyr just for that kill. And yes, they ended up getting that kill, but it cost them 2 for themselves. So in the end, still a better gold difference there for McMaster. And just an advantage there. We've seen it throughout a lot of this season. Having a Yuumi makes such a huge difference because the healing she provides in fights and the speed she's able to give is so crucial for a lot of how you play out these ganks, you play out these chases, and I think St. Clair just overextended, trying to get this Hecarim down, forgot about the heal on Misfortune, and that really made the difference there in that fight.
I'm still shook at the fact that the Yuumi was even let through here for this game, especially if like Saints were I mean, they went down, so in theory they would have been able to pick which side. But nonetheless, we have ourselves some trouble up in the top lane.
Ooh, ultimate going to come out of Kennen here. Will try and walk away, but that's going to be a flash coming through. FaZe going to go down here in just a second, but there will be an answer. So is he going to go down as well? Aatrox going to hop for the wall. For in the end, it is a 1-for-1, but TP was forced out from the Azir there. So a little bit more, but at least it was answered back. St. Clair getting some vengeance here, but we are, as I was going to say, right now, Azir, the only one who's really ahead for St. Clair, but I mean, he's still down 20 CS. But meanwhile, there's going to be engage here in the mid lane, bot lane to come through as well, but Fresh so low here, Zephrot going to take him down. Fresh barely going to live there, and Fresh living on the edge, able to survive this time, but very, very risky. But at this point, Azir now 201 is going to be so far ahead of this Orianna in mid right now, and this whole series, I feel like Zephrot really has had the upper hand on Quinn's fanboy.
In regards to at least eliminations, but if we take a look at the CS numbers as well, like right before Quinn's fanboy went down, I think it was at least like 20 CS difference, and it's basically right there even still. But yes, of course, the gold is still going to be over in the favor of Zephrot, but even with the eliminations going in their favor, at least Quinn's fanboy is not going to be that far behind. But yeah, that's like the only line of light.
This could be dangerous. Barlow gets the chompers down, so it'll be okay, but Karma was not there at the time, so very, very lucky that Hecarim decided to path towards his Krugs and not towards that.
What's bang?
That's so much damage onto FaZe there. Just a little bit of poke from the Aatrox, and he's going to be forced to back. Has the TP and did get the orb first, so we'll be able to survive quite a while in this lane, but we are going to see the 1-0 Aatrox with that pickaxe already built is so strong. Does not have the ultimate available, so can't go for a dive under this turret, but I definitely think maybe when this next wave crashes, he might go for it.
The dangerous part here of Aatrox is when he's all of a sudden gets enough ahead where he does not care about your kiting, does not care about whatever CC you have, just push forward and just try to jump on you. We've seen it time and time again from Ricky in the past games of the season, and Fresh is getting jumped on.
Oh, nice ultimate there by Zephrot. Going to save his support here for the moment. Viego going to be here as well. All going to come through. Not going to be able to catch him, though. That's going to be Yuumi saving the life of this Hecarim. Oh, E-Hug did not hit that ultimate. He was so close to getting that Hecarim, but can't clean it up. Fresh going to walk forward here, but in the end, no kills anywhere on the board. Nice try there. A really good gank, actually, by SC, but Fresh barely able to survive, and a key ultimate there by Zephrot to keep his support in this game.
That was nearly troublesome. Both Zephrot and Fresh were just like one more auto attack away from going down in that situation, but keeping themselves alive at the end of the day here, while everybody else on the bot side of things just keeps on farming away. But even still, even with Zephrot having those 2 kills, just still basically shot for shot here with Quinn's fanboy.
Yeah, Quinn's fanboy up 30 CS right now. A Dark Seals bot for this Orianna as well as this Yuumi. So investing in the early game, they believe they'll win to get some advantages here. And I mean, across most of the other lanes, pretty even, honestly. Like farm single digits apart for most of these sides. So really the only discrepancy is going to be in this jungle, but it is going to be a nice flash there by Barlow. We'll let him get out for the moment. So Flash was forced out here, but will survive the gank. So a lot of tension being put down towards this bot lane, and I mean, heal's still the only summoner available here for St. Clair, but if you're Hecarim, you have the Yuumi boost. This is going to be an engage here, and top lane all going to come down. Stun not going to land, though. Aatrox will be able to live, so ultimates out of both top laners, but in the end, another gank with nothing much produced.
You can just feel the tilt right now here for the Saints, where they feel like they're in a position that they have to do something drastic, but in all honesty, just farm up and like try for some objectives and you should probably be a-okay. But you can see they're searching for these kills, headhunting for them, overextending to try and get them. And now with a dragon up, like, we're not going to have any sort of slicing maelstrom there for FaZe. The teleport was already burned anyway, to be fair. But yeah, dragon going to be going down for basically free. And now Fresh.
Oh, Fresh, you got to get out of there. No, he's going to go down here in just a second. So Fresh again, overextending in this bot lane. You got to remember the Yuumi Hecarim is so fast, especially with Predator on those boots completed. You just can't survive. Even with the slow and the root and everything else you have available to you, there's just not enough speed that's going to be able to be faster than a Ghost Predator Hecarim Yuumi. There's just nothing faster in the game than that.
Absolutely brutal. Here we go again. Nice ulti, though.
Yeah, Danny Boy will go down here in just a second, but there's going to be a dive here in the bot lane as well, so kills answered across the board. Both teams getting one apiece, and they're going to push on their respective sides as well. So good answer there. They saw the top dive coming against Danny Boy, so the answer is going to be go to the bot lane, kill the ADC, and no flash on the Jinx means she does go down there. And actually, oh, I thought Fresh took that one. But yeah, it will be 1-for-1 kills across the board. They will be turret plates taken here in the top lane, though, and Rip Hero going down as well. So they actually might be able to take this turret down almost to 0.
Yeah, should be able to do it. Shelly, what you got? Can you finish it? Barely not going to be able to, but the rest of the Saints are going to be able to clean this up probably in just a second.
Yeah, they actually had 1 minion left there. If that ranged minion died earlier, they wouldn't be able to take it. But that is going to be first turret, and that's going to be a lot of gold over to eHug and FaZe here. So definitely a good way back into this game. You see now the 600 gold difference in the top laners there. eHug drawing even with this Hacker Room. So definitely well played there by St. Clair. Get themselves a good advantage here in the top lane. Because right now, frankly, Misfortune 301 very, very ahead here in bot.
Yeah, it's a night and day difference right now. Anything that Jaeger pulls off here, especially once that ultimate's back up on off cooldown, is just going to absolutely hurt here. At least the saving grace here for Barlow is that execution on the ultimates can at least help secure a kill once something gets low. So like if FaZe, eHug, and Zephrot all dive in and get somebody super close, just snipe them off the rocket. And this is troublesome once again.
Fresh gonna flash out from danger there. Will be able to survive, but I mean, that's just literally a Misfortune Q and some Yuumi damage with the Yuumi Q. And Fresh is almost dead. He is so far behind. All he has is the cooldown boots and a single man item there. He's gonna get an amp tome, but I mean, he's so squishy at this point. He just almost feels not useless, but like he just seems like the biggest target and it's so easy to take down. You just can't expose yourself or else you're just going to go down immediately. And for St. Clair, like, they picked Fresh's comfort pick and he's just not performing on it. So I definitely think looking forward in this game, he's going to have to try and step up, try and make sure he's playing a lot safer and give St. Clair a chance to scale up in this game because that is their win condition going forward.
And you can see with Fresh, like, he's still running up forward with some of these, like, empowered Qs as if that thing actually hits like a truck. But meanwhile, it's basically just like a feather hitting you in the face. Like, you just kind of brush it off and keep going. Because it's just not quite there. And like Fresh kind of needs to be content just with knowing the fact that I'm a root and I'm a speed boost, but here we go in the mid lane.
All gonna come out here, slicing Maelstrom and acclaim Quinn's fanboy. So a quick kill there for the Kennen, and he will push forward this mid lane. Meanwhile, bot lane is getting hit pretty hard, but no, they're gonna back off here. And that was a nice kill in the mid lane here, but looks like the river will be taken here. They're going to collapse here. Zephyron and FaZe have to be careful. That's going to be a full force Hecarim coming in with all the speed in the world. Going to run him all the way back into his turret and take him down here. And that's going to be Aatrox getting a kill as well onto Zephyros. So it is 2-for-1 in the mid lane in the end of it, and that is the problem with a Yuumi Hecarim. He is literally halfway up the river, and within 2 seconds, he's taking you from mid into your own turret and is taking you out.
I call your one kill, and I raise you one more. Absolutely brutal stuff coming out here, and this is finally one of the times here where, like, a lot of spotlight's actually kind of on Azzy. Azzy, for the most part in this series, has just been, like, quietly doing what he needs to do. But now, anytime I see him on the field, I am absolutely clenching because he just does so much damage while still being so tanky on that Hecarim.
It's the power of the Hecarim, right? You have the Yuumi on top of you, so all that speed that you build up, the Yuumi is giving you extra adaptive force and giving you extra speed, so that gives you even more adaptive force on top of it. So you have so much damage, you have so much speed, and as soon as you run into a lane, there's no stopping you. You are going to hop on top of that ADC or the mid laner, or even the jungler at top. They're all so squishy. And, I mean, we didn't really talk about this, but there's no front line for St. Clair this game either. So I definitely think looking forward, you don't really have that person in front to try and stop or CC or tank up this Hecarim when he dives into your backline.
I mean, the playstyle worked for game number 1, but there also wasn't, like, McMaster wasn't necessarily, like, undercompensating with tanky members. They, too, have themselves some more, like, brawly, like, high engage but damage dealing champions, and it's going to kind of counter things out here. But can the Saints manage to sneak this dragon?
Yeah, I think they're going to take it. No contest. No! Oh, a steal coming over from Azzy. That is so bad. Root going to come out as well onto Fresh. He will be taken out for a 4th time in this game. Re-engage going to come in, though. FaZe is going to get exhausted, and he will be taken down immediately. Ult's going to come through. Bullet time going to be down on Zephrod here. going to be chased down as well. This is going to be him being taken down, and that's going to be a rampage for this Hecarim, and St. Clair just being absolutely torn apart across the map. They're going to go for the ace here. Jinx going to be taken down here in mid. Turret shot not going to be enough here in bot lane. Sephiroth barely surviving with Jaeger. Going to go for the flash Q. Oh, the shield going to save him. Sephiroth with less than 10 HP. Will he get out? No. Oh, he's going to get the kill, though. He will get the shutdown onto this Hecarim. So that is 500 extra gold in his pocket. In the end, across the map, it's still a 4-for-1. Definitely still McMaster favored. But, I mean, a little glimmer of hope for St. Clair.
Yeah, 1 kill for 5. I'm definitely
yeah, probably not.
Like, okay, yes, that was a huge bounty, given how crazy Azzy has been going here. But still, there is just so much of a difference between the members that are actually like hitting the hardest here. The biggest thing I think I see as of this moment is just going to be the jungle and the bot lane. Like, the mid lane's pretty much even. In fact, it looks like Sephiroth's still in the lead, but top lane seems pretty fine, but it's just jungle and bot lane that just seems to be the biggest difference maker right now.
I think it's pretty stabilized right now for St. Clair, though. Yes, they are down a pretty significant gold deficit, but they still have their outer mid tower, they still have their outer top tower, and their outer top tower is very healthy. So across the map, turrets are even, and they're not significantly far behind in map control right now, which is the main thing. Because if they were, you know, without outer towers, but there's going to be Gage here, so much damage on Misfortune, she will get that kill. Jaeger going to get him from across the river, but Jaeger might have stepped a little bit too far in the mid lane. That's a shutdown for Jaeger, and there's going to be engaged in the bot lane as well. Quinn's fanboy going to be engaged on here by Sephiroth, but that's so much damage. And that's going to be a turret coming down as well. TP going to come down. That's going to be Aatrox coming in on this Azir. And Azir, you have no flash. You cannot run. No E either. And that's going to be a kill for Danny Boy. So in the end, 2-for-1 for McMaster.
Just transforms into the demon, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Takes him down nice and quick here. Even with that extra little turret there for a little bit of extra protection, not quite enough. But still, at least some bounties going into the favor of St. Clair, finally taking an elimination off of Jaeger at least. So now currently sitting 5-1. But this is still, like, it's still doable, yeah, because it's still like only a 4.7k gold difference. Where to this point in the game, okay, that's like relatively significant, but it's still completely salvageable. However, unlike the past games, Saints have nothing in regards to dragons. So if somehow getting a soul as a part of their end game, it's going to be difficult to reach.
And it's got to go back to draft, right? You not only did you choose blue or red side, but you were willing to let that Yuumi go for Fresh's Karma. And right now, you look at the score lines. Nevermind is going to be engaged in mid lane, as I'm trying to say that Jinx is going to be rooted up. But no, the disengage will come through. They'll decide they don't want to fight that one. No TP for FaZe there, so they actually could have engaged, but they decided not to. So what was I going to say? This goes back to, never mind, I can't even talk. Jaeger going to be taken down here. Root going to come through. That's going to be Ehug taking down the Misfortune in the mid lane yet again. Another kill over for this jungle, and Ehug getting pretty strong. Looks like they want to go for this Herald before it goes down, so they will get that Herald. But like I was saying before they fight again. So they gave up this Yuumi for Fresh's Karma, right? You look at the scorelines right now. Fresh 0-4-3, the Yuumi 0-0-12 with the Ludens built with a massive gold difference there and with 9 stacks on this Dark Seal. Like, this Yuumi is massive right now, and it's going to make life so hard for everyone else in St. Clair just because they simply have this Hecarim Yuumi who can go lightning speed into your backline and completely nuke you.
And if I recall, like, the more that this Yuumi is, the more that Swift Slug builds AP, the more each heal does, as well as the more movement speed you get, if I do recall correctly, which is just going to absolutely...
it all stacks. It all stacks. It all stacks.
Makes things absolutely insane. The only thing more annoying than a Yuumi is an AP Yuumi. the AP kitty going to come in trouble, and oh dear, this is exactly what we're talking about.
Ignite going to come down, and that's going to be the end for little old Yordle in the top lane there. FaZe going down. Baron is up right now, and they are pinging towards it. They look like they have ping boards on it. They're going to go for it, so it is going to be 20-minute Baron here. It is pretty early on, so we'll do a decent chunk of damage to the members of McMaster here. They will know, though, Ward does go down in the pit, so they are going to know that they're taking this Baron. Will St. Clair choose to contest this one? Orianna sitting on the side here, fanboy, with the ultimate still available. Yeah, going to pop the Shroud, going to try and get in here, find some way to get into that pit. Look, that's going to be down to 1,000. Going to go for the seal. No, that doesn't get it. Did he get it? No, they don't get it. Misfortune somehow gets that. That's going to be a cleanup as well. 3 members down, 4 members down for St. Clair. That is disaster. St. Clair lose the team fight, lose the Baron, lose the Dragon, and they are on the way to lose this game, down 6K gold now. And the glimmer of hope they had just comes crashing down in an instant.
The gold lead went from being tolerable to an absolute nightmare, and they're going to get a Dragon on top of this, which means soul point within the next 5 minutes. And you can just tell McMaster, they're just so confident right now. The 20-minute Baron attempt comfortably handled. It is kind of odd that Jaeger managed to find the last hit on that one.
Yeah.
So that very well could have flip-flopped and somehow maybe gave St. Clair that extra little bit of hope that they were looking for, but it does get shut down, turned away, and it just ended up basically being a delayed ace because FaZe got caught out a little bit early on the top lane, and that's what ended up becoming a Baron.
Yeah, for sure. It's just so unfortunate, too, because the Hecarim is just so far ahead. This Yuumi already at 1016 has been such an instrumental part of this game. And because you have no front line to tank up what this Hecarim is he's gonna run at you full force. He can do whatever he wants in a fight. He has the Yuumi on top of him, so he has a lot of survivability. So much healing now with this Banshee, or this Spirit Visage being built, but that's gonna be engaged here in bot lane. Cannonball gonna come down and engage here in top lane as well. This is gonna be a mid lane solo kill. Looking for no mana on Fanboy here. Flash gonna come through. Q's gonna come through as well. Flash gonna be answered with one of his own, so that's gonna be no kills in the top lane or the bot lane. That's gonna be a C saying hi to his ear and saying bye. That's going to be a quick kill over. Again, this Hecarim 10, 3, and 6. Just an absolute menace in this game.
Hey, Azzy, I need you to deal with my boy real quick. Drive by real quick, why don't you? Takes him down within seconds with just the charge. I mean, that was a valiant one-on-one until it wasn't.
I mean, he got pretty close to killing him, and then it's like, oh, I can walk away to my turret. Where are you going to run away to? You can't outrun this Yuumi Hecarim. Nowhere to run, nowhere to go, and that's going to be mid-turret going down as well. 22 minutes into this game, the gold lead almost at 10K here for McMaster. Just a masterclass of jungle support duo, just crazy speed. That's all it is, crazy speed, crazy damage. And I mean, for me, he definitely didn't look nearly as good in game number 1, and in game number 2, I think he was okay. He didn't perform too well, but this is his coming out party in game number 3. He looks incredibly good on this Hecarim and is really making up for his lack of participation in that game number 2 and game number 1. He has 16 out of 21 KP here and is just looking incredible on this jungler.
I mean, if there's any game to shape up, why not the last game of your playoff round? So fair enough in that regard. And to be fair, though, McMaster, just in general, they drafted so well. Just it's nice to see that, like, as he's getting the chance to step up, but it also helps that they've given him all sorts of support alongside it. And even in a worst case scenario, as he gets blown up, you still got Danny Boy, who's not doing too bad for himself either. So much farm in the lead right now over the counterpart there in FaZe. 3-1-3, solid round so far as well. And it's just going to be absolutely brutal for Saints to somehow get through this.
Fanboy is caught out here, though. Alt's going to come down here in a second. Yeah, that's going to be it. So a pick there for FaZe, so a small reward for St. Clair. But the problem is,
here we go.
4 people for McMaster that are coming back for revenge. Is he going to take out the Orianna? That's going to be another one down here. Not even going to use the ult. Danny Boy going to claim that kill, and you can outrun this horse. He is running all over St. Clair and trampling any hopes of them moving on in these playoffs.
Gosh, as he making this look like it's the equivalent of a T-Hunt game or something from like an FPS title, because this is just absolutely disgusting. Just running through the Saints with so much damage and so much speed. I hate to say it, it almost looks like they're running through bots at this point with how quickly the Saints drop, but it's because there's no tank, and it's just so hard to deal with this composition. It's so execution heavy.
Fresh gonna try and escape this one, but Slipslug gonna get Parla with the Q! The Q from long range gonna claim it, and that is an 18 stack Magi's Yuumi. That Q does so much damage. Baron gonna be up here in 2 minutes, but I don't even think they need it. I think they can just run it through mid and end the game themselves.
And I mean, they're just gonna cross their T's and dot their I's at this point, right? Just wait on that last minute. Let's secure the soul, and if they challenge you, just kill him and then take the base. Like,
we didn't even talk about the fact that it's Cloud Soul. So these jungles, this Hecarim is going even faster than he normally would be. Like, these jungles, you take one step in there, he sees you, you're done. That's going to be an engage here in the mid lane. Going to R right through the Azir, our ultimate. It's not going to do anything. A re-engage here by FaZe, but he will go down in just a second. Azir going to try and run away. Flash over the wall. Fresh going to barely survive, but Jaeger going to flash forward anyway. Slow going to be applied. Heal going to come through. Fresh, try and run, try and hide, but you will be taken down. No, he will live with 5 HP,
no.
but he ran right into Fanboy. A little bit of respect here. Super going to come out. He realizes he's in a bad spot, and they're just going to say hi to each other. They realize this game is over, and that's going to be an ultimate to finish him off. Oh, you'll love to see it. That's going to be it, though. St. Clair will be done. This player front in just a second. Jaeger going to clean up the jinx, and that is going to be it. That is going to be game number 3 over McMaster. Absolute masterclass of a game. Will take it in a reverse sweep and push themselves forward here in the NACE Star League playoffs. St. Clair's playoff run will end right here and right now. A good try, a valiant effort, but just wasn't enough to beat the Yuumi, and McMaster take the series 2-1.
I do not know how to feel. I feel like I need to talk to somebody. Like, what in the world did I just witness there? Did you notice that the Yuumi Q half-chunked Barlow?
Yes. That's why he ran under turret the last time that he died. He ran under turret at 1,000 HP. The Yuumi Q hit him and he died at 1,000 HP. And when you're getting hit by Yuumi at that point at 1,000 HP, there's no way. It's just a little bit of poke. No, it's a lot of poke.
No, it seems comical considering how far they were ahead, but it just goes to show how strong that early game was there from McMaster University, that they were able to even make this combo. Because normally, even if you're going even, that combo is hard to deal with. But with the fact that the bot lane started off strong, and then as he basically... What's the term that they just keep using? He peaked that game, I think.
Oh, yeah.
He peaked that game and had all the help in the world to make it happen, too. And it was just absolutely, like, disgusting to watch. I definitely feel for the Saints. That's a tough way to lose with something as crazy dominant, especially since you can, like, if you were to really break it down, I think this game was lost in Champ Select.
I was going to say, you don't really have to break it down too far to find out. Like, just, you took red side, you let Yuumi through, and that was GG, essentially. Like, we were talking earlier in the day about how strong Yuumi is. When paired with the Hecarim, not only does she buff you with the Adaptive Force, but the fact that she gives you move speed buffs you even more. So it's like 2 times the benefit of playing this Hecarim for the Yuumi, and it just showed in this game how dominant that pair can be.
I'm not a betting man, but a Hecarim with a Yuumi on it is a horse I will always bet on every single day.
Nice. I respect it.
My goodness, because holy smokes, that pony be flying.
Yeah, that was crazy. But that is going to be it. St. Clair's NACE Star League playoff run is going to end right there. Really good try. They did win last week, but they are going to go down this week. McMaster University Maroon will move on. And I mean, reflecting back on how they did, I mean, we are going to see them still in the NECC further on in this game. But I mean, for specifically the NACE Star League season, how do you think it went for them? And where do you think maybe it could have changed, even in this series where they could have gone further?
Like, it definitely, like, just getting to watch the matches between both leagues, especially here for NECC. It just seemed like the highs were so high and then the lows were just extremely low. And, like, honestly, like, it was kind of rough for us, like, specifically today that, like, Ricky wasn't able to join us, but I really don't feel like that would have made that huge of a difference. I honestly think, like, FaZe coming in here today still did exactly what he needed to do for the most part. Just unfortunately, everything else was just kind of snowballing around him for the most part.
And I think, really, if you look at game 2, maybe that time, Solo dying to the Volibear in top lane, Volibear snowball got the turret, moved into the mid game, and that's when he was pretty strong. So I think that game definitely looked back. Maybe the solo kill does make a difference, but you look at game number 3, it just came down to a draft issue where you let the Yuumi through and Fresh is dying 2-3 times really early on in that game, giving the Hecarim kills, giving this Yuumi stacks on the Dark Seal, and it's just disaster after that. And so I think definitely was not nearly as indicative of the season as a whole. I think definitely just a specific drafting problem in this game. But like you said, I think throughout the season they've definitely leveled up, and I think specifically Zephyros for me has been such a big improvement throughout the season. Has looked so much better in the second half, and it kind of sad to see them out of the NACE Star League playoffs. They do still have the NECC to work back on, but again, they are out of 2 leagues now, so they are just on that 1 league left.
Yeah, and it was interesting, like, seeing, because initially it was all just, okay, let's get Ricky fed. That was the strategy. Yeah. But then it's like, okay, E-Hug all of a sudden became so consistent, like, usually going, like, even or ahead in pretty much every game for, like, say, 9 out of 10 times. Zephyros went from basically being even constantly and then just doing exactly what he needs to do in the late game to being a massive threat early in a lot of these games, and his roaming presence was dramatically increased, and the bot lane like just trying to reach themselves into the late game. There were certain games, especially in that bot lane in particular, I don't want to harp on anybody, but that's where it felt like the highs and the lows constantly happened.
Definitely.
Because we saw, like, even last week, Barlow got the chance to get like even and relatively ahead. All of a sudden, he's able to dash in and get like do all this burst damage and like get the eliminations. He's on cloud 9. But then on these games where they're feeling behind, they want to do that anyway to try and catch up, and they usually just kind of put themselves into a corner, and it's just like sometimes it's miscommunication, which happens to everybody, to be fair, but miscommunication or just not on the same page or something. But we still have plenty of action to come, though. Like we were saying, NACC still have the season finale technically this Friday, and then the playoffs will be shortly after that. I think we are technically secured for playoffs already.
Yeah.
So still plenty of League of Action.
League
I mean,
of
with
Legends
this
action.
series, it was League
It
of
was
Action.
League of
to be
Action.
fair,
Oh yeah,
but,
that last game was League of Action.
but still plenty to come.
Yes, that's going to be it. It is going to be McMaster taking the series 2-1. And we just want to throw it over to our sponsors real quick. Give them a quick shout out. So our newest sponsor is Crunchyroll, essentially the Netflix of anime. You can get a 14-day premium trial for free at crunchyroll.com/saints. Go check yourself out, some anime, some manga, whatever you're into. They got it there. So crunchyroll.com/saints. We also want to thank Tim Hortons, Subway, the SRC, and St. Clair College Alumni Association. They're great sponsors, and we really appreciate what they've done for the stream and for what we can do. And why don't you talk about our merch?
Absolutely, plenty of merch here. The Saints Dark Mode merch, as it's been referred to before. We've been like white, green, and gold for the longest time, switching it up, and when there is just so much additional stuff here. We've got everything on the screen here, including our little meme scrim shirt. But honestly, the jerseys, the jackets, everything extremely comfy. Wearing mine right here, right now, and it is just honestly perfect for when Mother Nature doesn't decide whether it's going to be spring or winter. It's the perfect in between, so definitely suggest that, alongside maybe some of the crew necks and the sweaters and everything else at acquire.ca/saints. Perfect time of the season, or perfect time of the year to pick some of this stuff up, and definitely recommend doing so if you want to rep some of your Saints.
You know, you want to rep some of the Saints, especially with playoffs coming up for a lot of these teams. Call of Duty, I know, is heading into playoffs next week.
And basically, Call of Duty, I think League of Legends and Rocket League all have playoffs on the same day. So be sure to follow our Twitter if you have not done so already, so that when you see the absolute craziness of a stream schedule that we're going to have to put out for
that's going to be
you
insane.
catch as much as possible, because you're not going to want to miss it.
Yeah, so that's going to be it, though, for us. St. Clair goes down in round number 2 of the NACE Star League of Legends playoffs to McMaster University Maroon. And we'll be seeing them actually on Friday, the final game of the regular season NACC. They have that on Friday, and they will be moving on to playoffs. They have already locked it in, so we'll be seeing that in a couple of weeks as well, so you're not going to want to miss it. But that's going to be it. John, Bill Bangs, Udima, Dan, Mr. Danners, Banner, wish you a good night. Farewell. Stay safe, and love each other. Have a good night. Another engage here. Fi going to be charging that one up. Going to go for the Zoe in the backline, but Zephyr already down very low HP. Drowsy going to come out here, but they're going to have first blood. Zephyr trying to pull this one back. Flash is going to come out. He's going to dash back to his E. E going to come down from chat as well, but that's not going to land. So the Violet will land. He's going to go for the auto here. Won't be able to make contact, and the double kill early for St. Clair.
You're probably not escaping that anyway.
Yeah, and this is very important because as you see, farm pretty even top lane right now. Flash going to come out, E going to come out as well. Danny Boy going to get a lot of damage out on the fence, but Nightfall is going to catch 2 of them there. That's going to be so much damage. Going to flash away here, try and get that kill, but Eok down pretty low, going to flash up to get that kill. Yon going to join the fight. Zephyrod going to be a flash invested here. Eok going to go for the ult, but he doesn't realize there's 2 people here from the other team. Ult going to come through, going to get all 3 members. Zephyrod clapping absolutely everyone in that fight. Going to pass all the way back to his ult fight. Eok going to barely escape. Yes, he will. He's going to get away here. Swift. Oh, he's going to get the E, but it's not going to be enough. Eok going to be able to save here. Going to go for the Q, and that's going to be it. Flash going to come through. Barlow going to try and get away. Gale Force going to be forced to flash as well, trying to get away from this Volley Bear. Will be looking back for the engage here, doing a pretty decent chunk of damage here. Combo going to come through. Barlow going to take him out here. That's going to be Leona forced to flash up, but it doesn't matter. Zephyrod going to get another kill, and then in the end, it's a 2-for-1 again. St. Clair coming out on top in this fight. But Will Pop going to be allowed to back out here. Swift Fishing will go down to that burn from Fez, but he's going to fall asleep. Barlow going to get shut down by Quinn's fanboy here. Re-engage from that's going to be St. Clair re-engaging, but this is not a fight you want to take. That's going to be a double kill for the Casio, though. And Danny's going to try and get a kill on this mid laner, and that's going to be 4 members of St. Clair going down. Walks in front of it. They're going to die, too. So that's the thing is, later on this game goes, there's going to be Gage there in the bot lane, though. There's going to be a lot of damage. Volibear forcing the flash out of... Oh, that's going to be Nobby going down as well here in just a second. So Shazzy will take Fresh out. That's going to be a kill for Ehug, though. Answered back. Jin going down. That's going to be a retreat here. So in the end, a 1 for 1. Fresh in a dangerous spot. Doesn't have flash from the last engage. Will be bursted down here. All going to come down, but not going to catch anyone. Stun going to come through on Barlow. Zephyr going to get the first kill onto the jungler there. Is he going to go down? The King going to come down. That's a nice TP. Going to get another kill. Barlow going to be taken down, but Ehug going to answer back with one on the move. Quinn's fanboy has nowhere to go. Will land the chains, though. Will get one. Try and answer back. Heals, but no, it's not trying to escape this. Are going to come down on that turret. Danny Boy going to dunk him down under the mid turret there. Will go down as well. Fresh going to try and escape, but that Leon has nowhere to run. She is done for, and that is another kill over. They're going to look for more here. A double kill for Danny Boy here, showing his claws on this Volibear and being so effective now in this game. Doesn't matter. Don't got time for that. It's going to be another engage here, and Jaeger going to be taken out really early here. That's going to be Fishing going down, or Swift Slug being taken down as well. So that's going to be a double kill for St. Clair, and that is the thing with Vi. You press the R on the Misfortune, and you cannot stop that Vi from running into her. So she just gets one shot, and now it's a 3. That's going to be Volibear coming in for an answer. A lot of AoE ults being used, but no death just yet. Fresh going to come down on the bot line, force a flash out of Jaeger here, but Jaeger will survive. Going to come down the back line. Danny does get Gnar. In the meanwhile, that's going to be double kill for an response here for St. Clair, but that's going to be 2 for 2, a 3 for 2 now for the side of McMaster, and they might look for this caught in the wrong place. That's going to be an ult straight to the back line. Freya going to be forced to flash out here. Jaeger barely living here, but will go down here in just a second. Just going to take a Barlow. In the meanwhile, though, Faye's going to finally get this Misfortune, but what will it cost St. Clair? Zephyroth, barely any HP here, is forced to flash out. That's going to be FaZe going down here in just a second, and a 3 for 1, a 4 for 1. He's going to stopwatch as well. Stopwatch is all over the map. Fresh going to look for the E, not going to be able to find it, though. So much damage coming into the Silas. He's staying alive. A beautiful knock up there. Going to get 3. That's going to be them turning this fight around. Quinn's fanboy going to get Sephiroth. And just when St. Clair looked like they had some hope in this game, they get turned around on, and McMaster completely taking advantage of it, win the fight. They will get this Baron.
Saints were, I mean, they went down, so in theory they would have been able to pick which side. But nonetheless, we have ourselves some trouble up in the top lane.
Ooh, Ultimate going to come out of Kennen here. Will try and walk away, but that's going to be a flash coming through. FaZe going to go down here in just a second, but there will be an answer. So is he going to go down as well? Aatrox going to hop the wall. For in the end, it is a 1. And everything else you have available to you, there's just not enough speed that's going to be able to be faster than a Ghost, Predator, Hecarim, Yuumi. There's just nothing faster in the game than that.
Absolutely brutal. Here we go again. Nice ulti, though.
Yeah, Danny Boy will go down here in just a second, but there's going to be a dive here in the bot lane as well, so kills answered across the board. Both teams getting...
And it's going to kind of counter things out here, but can the Saints manage to sneak this dragon?
Yeah, I think they're going to take it, no contest. No! Oh, a steal coming out from Azzy. That is so bad. Root going to come out as well onto Fresh. He will be taken out for a 4th time in this game. Re-engaging going to come in, though. FaZe is going to get exhausted, and he will be taken down immediately. Behind in map control right now, which is the main thing, because if they were, you know, without outer towers, but there's going to be Gage here. So much damage on Misfortune. She will get that kill. Jaeger going to get him from across the rear, but Jaeger might have stepped a little bit too far in the mid lane. That's a shutdown for Ehug here, and there's going to be engaged in the bot lane as well. Quinn's fanboy going to be engaged on here by Zephyr, but that's so much damage. To be honest, sitting on the side here, fanboy with the ultimate still available. Ehug going to pop the shroud, going to try and get in here, find some way to get into that pit. Look, it's going to be down to 1,000. Going to go for the seal. No, that doesn't get it. Do they get it? No, they don't get it. Misfortune somehow gets that. That's going to be a cleanup as well. 3 members down, 4 members down for St. Clair. That out here, though. Alt's going to come down here in just a second. Yeah, that's going to be it. So a pick there for FaZe, so a small reward for St. Clair. But the problem is,
here we go.
4 people for McMaster that are coming back for revenge. Is he going to take out the Orianna? That's going to be another one down here. Not even going to use the ult. Danny Boy going to claim. You're going to clean up the Jinx, and that is going to be it. That is going to be game number 3 over. McMaster. Absolute masterclass of a game. Will take it in a reverse sweep and push themselves forward here in the NACE Star League playoffs. St. Clair's playoff run will end right here and right now. A good try, a valiant effort, but just